and this station.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. The home of Kansas City Royals baseball. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Husker Nation, now is the time.
Holy moly! Man, woman, and child did that. Put them in the aisle.
Diving touchdown, Nebraska.
Does he have enough? Is it long enough? It's going to be tipped and caught. It's caught.
How many tackles can one man break?
He's to the 20. He's to the 10. He's on the way.
Totally unbelievable.
It's game day in Lincoln, America, and this is the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show. The A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show is powered by Select Plumbing, Raising Cane's, Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Currency, and the Kindler Hotel.
Come on.
Get up and get loud, Husker fans. The A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show starts now.
Good morning, happy Saturday, happy game day. Nebraska, Houston Christian kicking off in just about 3 hours from right now. He is Steve Sipple. I am Jake Sorensen, kicking things off on the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show breakfast version today.
Yeah, early.
Have you had any food yet today, Sip?
No, just that candy you put in front of me.
That's good. I was trying to nourish you. You're welcome, by the way. You tried to get mad at me. I'm trying to nourish you.
I got to be careful what I eat in the morning, but trying to help you out. It's gorgeous out there.
It's going to get hot today. Meteorologist Jake will tell you 93 degrees is the high today. I think it's about 74 right now. At kickoff, right around 85 degrees. 93 for the high today.
Oh, so we're soaring.
Find a swimming pool this afternoon if you can.
We're soaring back up.
Yes, this is not it's not good for our friend Bill Bush, who of course likes to. It's dark out and always in the 60s if possible. Which I actually right now I'd like that. I don't want that in July or August. There's rules to Nebraska how this works. We don't have 60 degrees in those months, but today, gonna be hot out there.
Well, you wore short pants.
You'll be in the press box. Yeah, you got short pants. I got short pants on.
No, I don't have. I don't have short pants.
Wow.
I thought about short pants. I don't know. It's a little much, I think, for me to wear short pants in the press box.
We told you to wear that and your Raiders shirt at some point, and that hasn't happened yet. Apparently,
somebody will wear. There'll be people wearing short pants today in the press box. Guarantee.
Probably a college kid that doesn't know the rules yet.
Well, I think.
You think Sean will wear his
no,
shorts up there?
Okay, Sean. No, but there's not there's people who aren't college students that will wear them.
That's fair,
especially people who are cognizant of the 93 degree heat.
True. By the way, you can chime in today at 402-464-5685 all show long. If you want to do a roll call, go for it. Tell us where you're listening from right now at 8 a.m. We're here for you. Also, you can comment on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, watching Allo 961. We're going to get to Nebraska here in a second. There's something we have to address from last night in terms of games across the country, Sip.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we did the preview during early break of there was 5 games last night. A couple of them you don't really care about, but here's some games of note that happened. If you went to bed, I'll go last game first. New Mexico, who, again, recall week 1, lost 34-17 to Michigan, looked solid, looked respectable. How about they go into the Rose Bowl, which, again, as you predicted, was fairly empty last night, and they win 35-10 over UCLA. And how about this? 298 rushing yards for the Lobos against UCLA. I repeat, 298 rushing yards for New Mexico in a 35-10 rout of UCLA in the Rose Bowl. UCLA now 0-3.
Here's a paragraph for you.
Was this Plaschke?
No, it's the LA Times. It's the LA Times, but it's not Plaschke. This is their beat reporter. The beat reporter, the game stories are kind of opinionated. This is 2026. No, we're still in 2025.
2025.
Actually, yeah. What day is it? What year is
Today
it?
is September 13th, 2025.
There's no what. This is the LA Times. There's no other way to spin it for UCLA after a third consecutive loss during what was supposed to be the soft part of the schedule. Raised a frightening prospect. Will the Bruins win a game this season?
Well, they've lost. They got beat. Here's the problem, Sip, is that now was game 2 at UNLV or is that at UCLA? Their second game. I'm looking right
Unclear.
now. Okay, here's the problem. It was at UNLV. They've lost 2 home games in non-conference this year already.
Mm-hmm.
Home games by quick scores. Here's some math for it. A combined score of 78-20. 43-10 losers at home to a good Utah team, and 35-10 losers at home last night to an average New Mexico team for UCLA. Ouch. Yikes.
37 transfers. They're in their first season. I mean, I think they have 57 new players overall, 37 transfers. Foster says they have enough, but he's in trouble there. They're in trouble.
Well, the good news, a somewhat good news, is they have, number one, a bye week this week.
It is good news.
And then they will play at Northwestern. And if they lose at Northwestern, there is a chance they don't win a game in conference play.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's a road game, so obviously it's losable. And we'll see Northwestern today play Oregon. We'll see if they get toasted by the Ducks in Evanston. But UCLA stands right now at 0-3, and right now a blemish and embarrassment on the Big Ten Conference in football.
This is pretty funny. This, again, from the LA Times. The Big Sky Conference's official Twitter site responded to a post jokingly saying that UCLA was reportedly thinking about joining that league. The official Twitter site said, "No, thank you."
Come on. All right, so that's one score, 35-10 New Mexico over UCLA. How about this again? Someone said it about after this game in Ireland, but there actually might be a curse of Ireland. Let's go back. Nebraska loses to Northwestern, who again won one game that season. That game, Nebraska, I think, went 3-9 that year. Was it 3-9 and 22?
Yeah, I think so.
Or 4-8, whatever it was. Okay, and then Florida State, of course, comes off a 13-1 season and goes 2-10 following their opening loss to Georgia Tech in Ireland. They go 2-10. Mm-hmm. This year, Kansas State, preseason ranked team, was supposed to be pretty good, a contender to win the Big 12. Well, here's the problem, Sip. They lose again last night to Arizona, 23-17. They're now 1-3, and they easily could be 0-4 without a miracle last-second touchdown against North Dakota in Game 2. So K-State's 1-3.
So they were favored to beat Iowa State. They were favored by 27.5 to beat North Dakota and won that game by
3,
by a whisker.
Yes.
Then they lost. What was their next loss?
Army
favored to beat Army and favored last night. Vegas doesn't always know, Jake. I mean, they don't.
They're just thinking something's got to happen. They're thinking K-State is too good to not win these games.
By the way, UCLA was a 15.5 point favorite last night.
They were.
I'm not doing the Vegas always knows thing anymore. They don't.
Yeah, K-State was a 1.5 point favorite at game time on the road at Arizona.
Yeah, they've been favored in every game. Kansas State.
Even they're 1-3.
Right. I mean,
it's the curse of Ireland.
It might be. There might be. Now, honestly, I wonder if coaches will look at this and rethink the possibility of going over there if they're thinking about it.
Okay, but Iowa State's undefeated still. Iowa State won that game, and since then they beat South Dakota. They beat Iowa. They're having a good start to the year.
You got to look at the other side of it too.
So it's not all bad. By the way, Kansas State's quick stats: Avery Johnson, who's again a 4-star quarterback, there's a lot of hype, and rightfully so. He's a talented player. Last night, 13 for 29, 88 yards passing.
I ain't gonna do it.
And as a team, they had 24 carries for 105 yards, less than 200 yards of offense for K-State against Arizona last night. And don't forget, Arizona 2 years ago was very good with Jed Fish. Then he went to Washington. They were very bad with new head coach Brent Brennan last year. Came in from San Jose State, and they stunk. Missed a bowl game.
Yep.
They're 3-0.
Yep.
Yikes. There's your update in some games. Also, Colorado loses to Houston 36-20.
A quarterback
last
change didn't go well.
Ryan Staub, the quarterback, his quick stats before we get to Nebraska, Houston Christian. Ryan Staub was 19 for 35 for 204, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. The Buffs only ran 23 times for 96 yards, so not much offense also for them. But it's Husker game day here in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yes.
I don't have a spread for you because it's an FCS team, but we do know that Nebraska won 68-0 last week against Akron in a very impressive home opener against the Zips.
Mm-hmm.
I think you and I both can hope that the Zips score today so they don't have 3 straight games of no points.
Oh,
please,
yeah.
Please, Joe Moorhead, get some points on the board for the sake of Akron. We need some points today.
Mm-hmm.
But Houston Christian's a team that, again, won their opener 69-0 against Arkansas Baptist, lose to Eastern Kentucky 20-10 last week. I think the only issue, Sip, for a potential slip up for Nebraska in terms of, not a blowout is the fact it's 11 a.m., right? Early game. The guys are waking up.
Oh, yeah. That's
could be a
factor.
sleepy crowd. The crowd
Yep.
won't be in this game at all in terms of, I think about Northern Iowa. That was a night game last year.
Mm-hmm.
People were into the game.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a sleepy crowd.
Oh, yeah.
There.
It'll be a sleepy crowd. And, yeah, this is a challenge for the coaching staff, led by Matt Rule, to get his team ready to roll early. I think what you tell them is, hey, 68-0 last week against Akron. We were good from start to finish. Let's be good from start to finish. And there's things that you can control, Jake. I mean, I think the conversation gets really basic in games like this. Football is about what? Blocking and tackling. It doesn't matter who you're playing. You can always block well. You can always tackle well. And then it shoots off from there. Like the kickers. I would tell the kickers, I want the ball going through the end zone. I mean, it doesn't matter whether we're playing Alabama or Houston Christian. I want the ball going through the end zone. And you can tell your special teams guys, I don't care who we're playing. You can swarm on special teams. You can, as a special teams unit, you can swarm the field.
Yes.
I mean, you can stay in your lanes and do the right things. And by the way, we got Michigan next week, dude.
Absolutely.
So let's be sharp. Let's not come off of a game where everybody's a little pissed off at each other because we didn't play hard and then the fans are grumbling. Let's not have that going into Michigan.
No.
Let's have
great. No, I mean, again, last year I mentioned it, this week that Nebraska had the impressive win against Colorado. Came back and again, the score was nice, 34-3 against UNI, Northern Iowa.
It was,
but it didn't look right.
No.
It just didn't look right.
Didn't feel right.
For a night game with all the buzz after that game, it didn't look or feel right. Opening drive was concerning. They only had a field goal, Northern Iowa, but Nebraska shut them down the rest of the game mostly. But it wasn't the dominance you thought that could lift you to a great season. Nebraska went 7-6 last year, and they had to get a win against Wisconsin in late November to get to bowl eligibility. Mm-hmm. You're trying to avoid that. We all know the schedule. We all knew this all season long has set up for success. It's overcoming yourself and your own problems of finding ways to lose. That Nebraska, if they finally can do that, which maybe that was the case against Cincinnati. Usually in previous years, Sip, I mean, this fan base knows, here we go. We're going to find a way to lose this football game. No. Hartzog picks it off in the end zone, 1-0. Last week, no questions at all, blowout. Today should be a blowout. You're trying to prove that you can win close games. And you want that? That's not the case today. Mm-mm. But like you said, can you have 4 quarters of focus where you're not lollygagging, you're not slacking off? You get 12 guaranteed football games a year.
Right.
To ever overlook one of them is just shameful. I know it happens.
It
That's
does
sports.
happen.
That's life.
Oh, I've always felt that too.
Like,
I don't get it.
I get in baseball, you play 160 games. If you slough off a game, I understand. Mm-hmm. Basketball, 82 games. I get if you have a bad game. Even in college basketball, you have 30-some games. I get one bad game. I don't get out of 12 games how you can just not show up.
It happens, though, to the best programs.
Absolutely.
I mean, the one that this year that boggled my mind most was it's really strange to me when it happens out of the gate. When a team starts the season that way. Alabama. I mean, if I was an Alabama fan, I'd be beside myself.
What was that?
Yeah, what do you – okay, guys.
That's who we are now?
That's what you train all off season for an opportunity like this, and you go in half-hearted, some of them. But anyway, yeah, it's incumbent on the coaches, but it's also incumbent on the players and the leaders to get the team right going into the game. I think that one thing that works in Nebraska's favor is how good do you think Holgerson is scripting the first series or two?
Good.
Probably really good, right?
Well, he's done it for a long time.
Yeah.
He's had successful offenses for his entire career. I think he's very good at that.
I think you'll see the offense come out smoking. Then you want to see it execute at the end of the drive. And, finish that first. That's one area I'd say if I was Holgerson, I'd say let's finish our first 2 drives today, unlike last week. And then on the other side of the ball, the stat, you know what, Jake? I don't think we talked about it on our show. The stat of the game last week, in my opinion, was Akron on 15 first down rushes, averaged 3.9 yards. You can't do that. You can't let that happen.
Nope.
It's not horrific, but if you can't let Akron get 3.9 yards per carry on first down.
No.
Because then you just wonder what's that going to look like in the Big Ten. So that's an area I would definitely harp on if I was over there. Let's be strong on first down.
Yeah. Well, and this is a team again in Houston Christian who the week 1 against a very bad Arkansas Baptist team ran for a lot of yards. Last week that was not the case. They did not follow up their impressive run game with a performance last week of note.
No.
And so with that being said, like if you saw Houston Christian go into Eastern Kentucky and put up 300 rushing yards, I could see you having some concerns, but they did not.
No.
They didn't have that type of game.
No.
And so Nebraska, again, you won't learn a lot about this team and how they'll play against Michigan at all today, but you can learn if they're ready to play a full 4 quarters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because this is a chance for, once again, like last week, reserves to get playing time, to show they can rise up the roster and also can help out when their name is called in a tight game potentially.
Yeah.
And just get experience.
Right. I mean, what you hope is the game's over at halftime, right? And then
absolutely.
And then you got to make some, if you're a Nebraska fan, that's what you hope. And then you got to make some decisions if you're Rule. How much do you have like a guy like Dylan Raiola play in the second half? Do you have him go out there for a series, or you just say that no, shut it down at halftime? There's a temptation. I'd be tempted to shut it down at halftime if it's over. Emmett Johnson,
right.
I'd be tempted to. Maybe you send him out there one more series, because somebody told me yesterday that a lot of coaches think that it's important for a player to have that experience of coming out of the halftime locker room and being ready and ready to go instead of just shutting it down.
Well, I mean, could you live with one series then?
Yeah. I could live with it.
I get that. You don't have the mindset, hey, we're up big at halftime, I'm done for the second half.
Yeah,
maybe got to finish this game.
Yeah, but you start thinking about the risk a little bit with your big games on your schedule coming up, namely Michigan. But yeah, those are kind of decisions that you'll see. But I think that could be the fun of it for the fans today, to see some guys that are down on the depth chart a little bit get more playing time. Guys that played last week, to see if they could do it again. Like a Quinn Clark comes to mind. He looked good last
touchdown for him.
Yeah, he looked
impressive.
Good.
He looked good. Yeah,
he looked good. TJ Lateef, he looked good. Caleb Benning. I thought Caleb Benning and Rex Guthrie on defense, those safeties, they look good. And then you're going to get a chance to see him again, probably.
Well, think about also, you hear names like Jameer Khan this week,
Khan.
And Gabe Moore, defensive lineman. You didn't think was going to be that good in the spring, and he's elevated himself.
Right, Gabe Moore is a guy to look at up front. That defensive lineman transfer from Mississippi State. Khan. Now I'm glad you brought up Khan, because the only injury I think would keep someone out is Malcolm Hartzog's injury. I don't even know what it is, but he may not play. Now that I think would mean Jameer Khan would play. Jameer Khan played 39 snaps, a lot of snaps last week. So yeah, you might see Jameer Khan in the lineup.
Well, this is also a team, and on that note, if Hartzog does not play, I mean, this team has every right to be proud of how they've done defensively the first 2 games, at least in the pass defense. I mean, they've allowed 69 yards to Cincinnati, and was it 80 last week against Akron?
It's an average of 65.5.
Right.
So
hardly anything at all.
Right.
And so they're saying, listen, yeah, we might be down a guy that contributed in Hartzog, but if we truly are as deep as we think we are, let's keep the stats up. Let's get some sacks to make it, get those stats going, get the guys up front some confidence, but also let's prove that, yeah, Andrew Marshall's been awesome through 2 games, and Singleton and Buford, all these guys, Sierra Wright, like make it 3 for 3 in terms of great performances before Michigan comes to town, who is an average passing team, and then do it again. Now we're really talking here.
Right. I mean, I think today presents rare opportunity to get back-to-back shutouts.
Now imagine that conversation on Monday.
Man.
Whoa.
Back-to-back shutouts for the first time since 1997. Do you remember that?
That was a pretty good year, if I recall.
Kansas and Texas Tech shutout back-to-back. It might have been Texas Tech, Kansas, but it was those two teams. It hasn't happened since then. So today's that opportunity. You got to have some luck like last week. You might have to have a kicker clank one off the left upright.
Sure.
Or a guy drop a pass in the end zone. That stuff can happen. But I mean, I don't think you go into a game as a defensive coordinator, John Butler, saying let's shut this team out. But I think you say let's give ourselves a chance. Let's give ourselves a chance to do it.
If you are not going to the football game, number one, I'm going to give you some other games, and number two, I'll give you a chance to go to this football game. How about that? Yeah. If the 11 a.m. games that are not Nebraska, Houston Christian SIP are Oregon at Northwestern. That's on Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Wisconsin at Alabama is 11 a.m. That is also on ABC.
Ooh.
Bama's a 20.5 point favorite. Central Michigan at Michigan at 11 on BTN. 27.5 point favorite are the Wolverines. And then also Towson at Maryland. You want to watch Towson, Maryland on Peacock, 11 a.m.
I'll pass. I won't be able to.
No.
It's interesting that Fox has that Oregon
and Northwestern.
Because that game could
be over the first quarter.
Could be much like Oregon, Oklahoma State.
Could I convince you that there's a sneaky game that, again, won't be a loss for this team, but could be competitive? Ohio plays at Ohio State today.
What are you going to try?
Ohio State is a 28.5 point favorite. Ohio just beat West Virginia last week. Now, this is not me saying watch out, absolute. No, Ohio is not going to win that football.
It's 11 a.m.
That's at 6 p.m.
Oh, that helps.
Is that a problem for the Bobcats?
Yeah, it helped. That place is.
Is there a chance they cover 28.5? Ohio.
Yeah, there's a chance. It's much like the Nebraska conversation last week. Part of the reason I wasn't worried about Nebraska having a letdown of any sort is because it was a night game. If Ohio caught Ohio State at 11 a.m., I've been in that Ohio Stadium when it's 11 for 11 a.m. games, and Nebraska pushed them on both occasions, and it was clear why. Ohio State was sleepwalks into that place, and it's not near the atmosphere. Of course, it's not. But the thing about it is there's a lot of empty seats.
Yes.
That's what people don't probably understand. And that's normal. Like I was sitting by an Ohio State writer, he said, "Oh no, it's not gonna fill up. This place ain't gonna fill up at 11 a.m." That's way different.
The other game of note I'm curious to watch if I stay up this late, Sip, is Minnesota at Cal, 9:30 on ESPN tonight.
It's a late start.
Minnesota has jumped up to a 2.5. It was 1.5 yesterday. Now it's 2.5 Minnesota as of this morning for spread in that game.
Hard game to.
I'm picking Cal.
Are you? I just don't know enough about Cal because they have such roster.
The quarterback has looked good through 2 games. I'm taking Cal. Not really an upset. They're basically they're 2.5 point dogs. It could be acceptable, but I'm taking Cal to beat Minnesota.
If you were to set the line today to get action on both sides for Nebraska, Houston Christian, what are we doing?
Well, I do have a number out there right now.
Is there a number? Is it in the 40s?
I'd like take a guess.
I'll say
put the spread on Nebraska, Houston Christian.
Well, 41.
43.5 is the spread.
Okay. Now what do you do then?
I would take Houston Christian to cover. But
really?
If Nebraska wins by 40, it's not a bad game. If it's 50-10, that's fine.
You know what? I'm going. I would take Nebraska in that.
Nebraska covered 34.5
right
by double last week against Akron.
I think it could be like a 64-14. How about that? 64-4. That'd be easy.
That'd be fun.
That'd be easy.
Back-to-back games in the 60s.
Yeah, that'd be easy.
Hello, Dana Holgerson.
Well, hello, substandard competition.
It's fine. 2 things before we get out of here. Number one, got to give you a quick shout out to LES, the EV Ride and Drive event. Sip.
Okay.
Are you thinking about switching to an electric vehicle but not sure where to start? LES is here to help. The EV Ride and Drive is your chance to test drive electric vehicles, talk with local owners and dealers, and get real answers from the experts. This event is happening on Sunday, September 28th from 9 to 1 at the LES Operations Center, 9445 Rokeby Road. It's free, fun, and all about helping our community explore EVs. Visit les.com/drive for details. Official pick for Nebraska Houston Christian is
64-14.
That's your official pick.
Yeah, I'm going
Okay.
64-14.
I'm going to say 42-10.
Oh, God. Lightning.
It's 11 a.m. They're not really woke up.
42-10 midway through the third quarter.
Maybe they don't score again the rest of the game. That's not me being negative. I think it's tough to put up 60 points in the game. I hope that Dylan's great and Latif's great and Gramstad and all these guys are great. But I just prove to me that you can put up a bunch of points at 11 a.m.
Yeah.
It's hard to wake up and go do that. You played 2 night games so far at 8 p.m. and 6:30. We've not seen 11 a.m. yet over there.
Yeah, we've learned from Bill Bush that it is a factor. I mean, it's a factor for you. It's a factor for me. Getting over here today wasn't ideal. You know, you're up.
Traffic was great though this morning.
Traffic's great, and there wasn't a lot of people. That was good. But you know, we're going to get done early. That's the beauty. And let's face it, Jake, for us, it's got to get this game over with. Then we can start talking about Michigan.
Yes. Also, last thing before we get out of here, I do have a generous listener who has donated his tickets for free for this game. I got 4 free tickets. 4.
Where are they?
These are in section 16A. They're pretty good seats.
Okay.
These are free. You want to do a trivia question for them or not? How do you want to give these away? Or do you like
trivia question.
Do you have a trivia question quickly or no?
The one we could have used was the last time Nebraska. Well, we could do it.
All right, if you were listening,
listening,
let's
do that. Yeah.
All right, the trivia. If you're listening, if you want 4 free tickets to today's Houston Christian Nebraska game, Sip, ask the question one more time, please.
When was the last time Nebraska posted back-to-back shutouts in one season?
Yeah, give us the year, not the teams, right?
Yeah.
The last year that Nebraska posted back-to-back shutouts. We did mention it a few minutes ago on the show, so if you're listening, 402-464-5685. We got someone calling in, but I'm going to do it during the text. You can text in. How about we'll do a text listener today?
Okay.
Texter. 42-10, my pick for Nebraska, 64-14. We're going to pass it off to Nick and Jay at the Kindler. This has been the A1 Automotive pregame show, opening segment. Always honest answers. Now also at 5110 State Hill Drive and 11th and L downtown. More with Nick and Jay next on the pregame show.
Have you been accused of a crime and don't know where to turn? At Liberty Law Group, we understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you're up against the legal system, you need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. Liberty Law's experienced trial attorneys are committed to the defense of liberty for those accused. Don't let a criminal charge ruin your life. Call Liberty Law at 877-42-LIBERTY. Advocates you need, trial attorneys you can trust. That's 877-42-LIBERTY.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription, or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Husker fans, on the field, every yard counts. At home, every drop does too. That's why Coligan, your game day water sponsor, is giving you $300 off a whole home water system. Rather rent? Score big with Coligan for just $9.95 a month for your first 3 months. Huddle up at ColiganHuskers.com to grab this exclusive offer. That's ColiganHuskers.com. It's soft water that protects your home, cleaner, great-tasting drinking water for the win, and the refresh you need to cheer loud all season long. Get water you'll love at ColiganHuskers.com.
Limited time offer. Participating dealers. Restrictions may apply.
Fall is here, and so are cooler temps, darker evenings, and slick roads. Is your vehicle ready for the change in season? At A1 Automotive, we've got you covered. From tire checks, brake inspections, batteries, and heater systems, we make sure your car is road ready for the Nebraska winters ahead. Don't wait until the first frost. Schedule your fall car care checkup today and drive with confidence all season long. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
The Kindler Hotel in downtown Lincoln is a boutique hotel experience unlike any other in the area. Their 45 well-appointed rooms take inspiration from the history of Lincoln. Their double queen rooms are great for guests traveling with family, and the suites are great for a business trip or romantic getaway. No trip to the Kindler is complete without a handcrafted cocktail from Boitano's Lounge on the main floor, with comfortable seating options both inside and on the outside patio. Book your room today at thekindlerhotel.com in Lincoln at 11th and P. Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln. It's game on at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Nebraska's premier power sports dealership. Stocking top models from Can-Am, Kawasaki, Honda, Polaris, CF Moto, Suzuki, Yamaha, Indian Motorcycle, Sea-Doo, and Triton trailers. Score big on our massive selection of Can-Am side-by-sides with rebates up to $3,000 on select in-stock models. Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered all under one roof with a large selection of side-by-sides, ATVs, motorcycles, and personal watercraft at their 27th and I-80 location. They can't wait to get you set up for football season.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
At Jimmy John's, we don't make sandwiches. We make the sandwich of sandwiches. We use fresh veggies because we don't hate salads. We just feel bad for them. We make our sandwiches exactly how you want because you're the one who's eating it. And we bake bread all day, every day because stale bread isn't bread. It's croutons. Sandwich history is written by the victors. Good thing we have legible handwriting. Jimmy John's, the sandwich of sandwiches. Order pickup or delivery on the app.
I'm Kirk Herbstreit, and today I'm eating Raising Cane's.
Herbstreit's in the drive-thru again. Oh, hey, Kirk. What can I get you today?
I want a solid bench of 4 chicken fingers that are real difference makers. Sprinkle-cut fries with dynamic ridge patterns, Texas toast, and cane sauce with an air of smugness that comes from knowing you're the best. Now back to you, Todd.
So the usual.
Make Raising Cane's part of your game day lineup. One love.
Back to the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show, brought to you by Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits.
Captain Chaos over
Welcome
here.
back into the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show. This segment live from the Kindler Hotel. Nick Sainert, as you already heard, alongside Jay Foreman. This segment brought to you by our friends at Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits. Are you looking for the perfect sip in Lincoln? Head over to Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 North 27th Street, where walk-in humidor meets a temperature-controlled wine cellar and shelves bursting with over 3,000 wines, 2,000 spirits, and 1,500 beers and seltzers. They're open daily over there at Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits. Stop in and elevate your next pour. We are a little under 2.5 hours away from kickoff between Nebraska and Houston Christian. Jay Foreman alongside Nick Sainert. Once again, Harrison Arns back in our 93.7 The Ticket Studios as this segment is live from the Kindler Hotel. All right, Jay, Nebraska, Houston Christian, just a couple of hours away here.
What are you looking for in tonight or today's matchup that maybe we saw a glimpse of it against Akron, but we want to see a little bit more today?
Well, number one, a clean game.
Yeah.
You want to have the penalties low. You don't want to, I wouldn't say play down your competition, but sometimes when you're playing a team that you're, bigger, faster, and stronger than, sometimes it can create a little bit of chaos. So I want to see Nebraska be in and out of the huddle, play on their schedule, be physical in the run game. I mean, you can say, okay, you're supposed to run the ball effectively against Houston Christian. Okay, well then go do it, right?
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is still have big holes for Emmett and company to run through. Keep Dillon clean in the pocket. Coming into the game, one thing that the coaching staff has talked about is the defensive schemes and the different looks that they'll face from a defensive front and blitzes and stuff like that. So I think it'll be challenging. I want the communication to be good, and then defensively, you want more of the same. You probably like to see guys get to the quarterback more, and then obviously they got to try to stop the run. So, and special teams got to be, continue to be special against inferior opponents. So you want to see, another step in the maturation process of, trying to be a legitimate team on the national level.
We saw last week Nebraska was able to run the ball pretty effective on the ground, especially with guys like Emmett Johnson and even at times Mekhi Nelson and Isaiah Mosey. Did we gain any clarity in that run back room last week?
I think the clarity came in that you actually saw some of the skills that you heard about in camp, right?
Sure.
You saw
Yeah.
Mosey with the ability to make guys miss, runs very hard. Mekhi Nelson, I think you saw, the speed and the agility, right? And then you saw Quentin Ives. You seen the big, Big Ten looking back that can actually run and leave some guys in the dust. So, I don't think anybody beat anybody out, if that's what you're asking. But what I think you saw versus the Cincinnati game, I think you saw, okay, now I see what they were talking about. And so you got to see that again today, right?
Yeah.
You got to see them be able to pick up some, I'm assuming some blitz pickups. You got to see them be able to make guys miss and, the run the yards after contact. So you're going to have to see, hopefully on a, I guess, bigger scale, meaning more reps, a bigger, test that they're going to have to go out there and really show their whole skill set. That's if Mosey had a big catch out of the backfield, make guys miss. Can you run between the tackles? Mekhi Nelson, can you pick up the blitz pickup and then obviously be effective out of the backfield? So do the things that you need to work on in a game like that you're going to face today.
How much of it, as we all know, what's awaiting Nebraska after this game? It's Michigan, Michigan State, Maryland. There's in that order. There's a bye week that throws in there. It's the Big Ten. You're right. We've been talking these first couple of weeks of the season so much about how all these questions need to be answered. Today feels like a pretty important day to solidify some of those unanswered questions. But is it the end of the world if you don't answer them all today?
No, because I don't think, everybody's thinking Michigan is going to be the problem solver. Michigan's not the same Michigan. I don't think they're very good, a very good team. Obviously very talented. I don't think they're a very good team, at least right now.
They'll be without their head coach today and next weekend.
Right. And the freshman quarterback that's still learning how to play, and then he's going to be on the road. And we saw that what happened to him last week, and you expect the same next week. So I think everybody's looking at Michigan as like, okay, everything's solved. I think this is I keep saying it, this is a week-by-week thing. You want to see consistent, clear improvement. And that's generally when you primarily on defense, but then you want to see some additions. Dillon has a pretty good handle on this offense in conjunction with Dana Holgorsen, the offensive coordinator. What do they add week to week? What do we see more from Barney? Do we see an explosive game from Dane Key? We've seen Hunter the first 2 weeks. You talk about the Carter Nelsons and all these other guys that, you want to see get going. That's where you want, what you want to be answered. See these guys be able to do it, because at some point in time in a game, all those guys that I mentioned have to be on.
Yeah.
And so, I think this team has always got something to prove. They're doing all the things you need to do and taking steps in the right direction. But you also have to go out there and earn it. And this is a game more than anything, Nick, is that validating yourself from last week that you can do the same thing. Can you play a clean game? If you show up at this game and you're looking at the scoreboard and that's going to draw your conclusion, you got to look at penalties, efficiency. Everything's got to be, you don't want to see, 10 guys on the field, 12 guys on the field, bonehead penalties or anything like that. All the things that Matt Rule wanted to eliminate when he came and took the job. Is that what you want to do today and obviously any game moving forward?
Well, it's interesting you bring up the turnovers because we heard Matt Rule talk about earlier this week the turnover number. It was -17 as a team throughout the season the first year that he was here, -2 last year. Right now, Nebraska's done okay in the turnover department through 2 games. They forced the 1 turnover against Cincinnati. They committed the 1 turnover at the goal line last weekend. You mentioned the penalties as well. 3 penalties committed against Cincinnati, 6 last week against Akron. If you can get out of this game, we expect Nebraska on the scoreboard to win, right?
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be close. But I think you can devil in the details in a game like today where you look and say, okay, did they make improvements from week 2 to now week 3? And then those are 2 very simple categories to be able to look at and say, okay, yeah, you know what? Last week they had 6 penalties. They got back to the 3 penalties in a game like they had week 1. They were able to take away the ball 2 or 3 times from Houston Christian. That's going to be playing. Houston Christian is going to be playing in a crowd that has about 87,000 more fans in than they've experienced this season.
Yeah.
I mean, so there's all the odds are stacked against Houston Christian. The moment might get a little too big for some of those guys. There's no reason Nebraska shouldn't be able to take advantage of it.
No, you got to go out there and you have to play a faceless opponent. And I like your, emphasis on the point or on the penalties. And, I kind of put them in 2 different categories, right? The like bonehead penalties, right? Yeah. The offsides, illegal procedures, formation penalties,
like lack of concentration,
or like the late hit or a shove after, the second guy. I call it. Well, I'm going to nickname it the second guy penalty.
Yeah,
those you want 0, right? I can deal with a bang play from a defensive player trying to make a play on the ball, and it's a subjective call where we're like, I can see why he called it.
Might
but,
smack the helmet as he's trying to swipe the ball,
right?
Whatever it is.
Yeah, I could deal with those. And so I think the bonehead penalties you want to be at 0, and then the aggressive penalties you obviously want at a minimum, but you can really talk yourself in and out of those very easily.
How much when you guys were playing was there an emphasis on takeaways, like not as much as the other team causing turnovers, and partially I suppose it's what you do defensively can draw opponents into turning over the football. But I was saying this with AD earlier this week, like it feels like Nebraska's trying to get to this point from a mentality standpoint where they're going to go out and they expect to take the ball away a couple of times a game, and we're just not there yet.
Yeah, well, you gotta. I think takeaways come. Number one, they come in bunches, right? They're like, in your case, home runs and stuff like that, and sacks come in bunches. You got to play very disciplined and steady defense to kind of get teams in predictable, situations where you can blitz, but you also want to make plays on the ball. More importantly, I think the best way to get, turnovers or takeaways is more hats to the ball with the emphasis of striking the ball and then rallying to the ball so that you up your chances of getting the fumble recovery and then obviously the grand slam is the scoop and score. And so you want to play through the offensive players with the ball. When you get a chance to get sacked and you're coming from the backside, it's not only get the sack, you want to rake down and obviously you want to cause a fumble and you want your defensive lineman to get it. So I think you're right. Those are the things they're trying to get to, but those are the things that you have to work on day in and day out, and you got to practice them with the intent that it's going to happen in the game. The best way to get turnovers, the best way to get guys to give up the ball is the mass of helmets, the mass of hits in the run and the pass game. And so really it's increasing the effort and chasing the ball, and you don't want to give up an explosive plays that way, because what happens, Nick, is you put it in their back of their brain and then they try to cut back and boom, here comes the defensive lineman, ball's out. Next thing you know, it's a party on the sideline.
When you look at Nebraska, what are some things defensively that you like? We know about the secondary. The secondary has been a pretty good, a bright spot this year. We know the experience there. But as we get ready to turn the page to conference season, what are some things from the front 7 or in this case the front 8 that you like?
Well,
from Nebraska.
Well, I mean, I like the youth. Young Cade came in and lit it up last week, and so you like to see. You saw a little bit of flashes from Gabe Moore. He'd been injured. Now you see why they looked at him in the portal, and so then you want to see the continued consistency of Cam Linhart, You want to see, some more, big plays or consistent play out of Elijah Judy. You want to think of Van Poppel. So I think the one thing that you see, from, I guess, the first game and obviously coming into the third game and obviously second game was the first glimpses, a little bit more depth, across the defensive line, which obviously you need in the Big Ten. And then you want to see that, some linebacker step up. You want to see some more, consistent plays out of Shavers. You want to see Watson Trent make plays. So that's what I want to see. I want to see these guys continue to take the next step of being a consistent first and second level defense, because I think everybody feels pretty comfortable with the veterans in the back, right? With Singleton, Buford, obviously Hartzog, and everybody else. And then you had the emergence of Donovan Jones to go with, Marshall and Wright. And so then now you're like, okay, now we're, instead of having 5 guys back there, now we're 6 or 7 guys deep. And so you like that. Now you want to get, the other guys going. And I think they took a step, in that direction last week. And so you got to take another step, and then you got a big step here moving forward after this.
I'm really excited to see, for the second week in a row, we're about to see Nebraska, I would imagine, rotate quite often and early on the defensive front. We saw last week, early in the game, in addition to Petrock, we saw guys that were, we haven't seen.
McGahee.
Willis, McGahee, and lined up in different spots.
McCullough was everywhere.
Different combinations out there as well that involved like Cam Lenhart and Riley Van Poppel. I'm excited for now another week, because we know so much improvement's made. We know the cliche term, so much improvement. The most improvement is made from game 1 to game 2.
Right.
It feels like in Nebraska's case, playing as 108 guys last week, so many bodies, they were able to stay fresh up front. It feels like they can make a lot of improvement for some of those reserve guys from game 2, in this case, to game 3.
Yeah, once you get in Big Ten plays, the amount of series that you get on offense and defense starts to condense, right? The games get tougher. The games get a little bit longer, a little bit more monotonous. And, you want guys to be ready just in case you got to throw them in the game. And the best way to do it is essentially eliminate any confusion, get them to do a whole bunch of different things, and just predicated on playing hard and playing together. And that's what they were able to do last week. The different fronts also works another way as well, Nick. So the teams that are preparing for Nebraska defensively are seeing multiple things that they might not even use, but it's at the addition of confusion. So, I think it works twofold. And then also I think it's a good evaluation, where coaches can see, okay, what does, these type of players or these combination of players do well together, and how it can be effective down the stretch.
Once again, this segment sponsored by our friends at Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits. Are you looking for the perfect sip in Lincoln? Head over to Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits at North 27th Street, where walk-in humidor meets a temperature-controlled wine cellar, and shelves are bursting with over 3,000 wines, 2,000 spirits, and 1,500 beers and seltzers. They're open daily, so make sure you stop in to Wall Wine and Spirits and elevate your next pour. We got a little less than 10 minutes left in this segment. Nick Sainert, Jay Foreman, we're broadcasting live here on the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show. This segment live from the Kindler Hotel. So make sure you book your rooms, book your stay today at thekindlerhotel.com. All right, Jay, let's look at offense, because I was listening to an interview with Nick Saban earlier this week, one of the greatest coaches of all time. And he was talking about in games that he played FCS opponents, he said something along the lines of, when we play games against teams, we knew we were better than. We knew we had more talent than. We would work on the things that we weren't good at in practice. And so he said a lot of people would expect you to go into a game, be a little more conventional, run the ball, try to just eat up clock, be methodical, be strategic. But he said we'd go out there and air it out against the team. And he's like, not to be disrespectful to an opponent, but that's what we wanted to do because we needed to work on that stuff. And it gave us a chance to work on it. Let's say you're head coach Jay Foreman. How do you operate in a game offensively today against Houston Christian?
I think we do more of the same. I think we open it up. I think we come out, and open up get the running game going via, the soften them up by the pass. I think I want to see the timing. I want to see it's even little things, where I'm going to challenge a quarterback like Dylan. I want to see you put the ball where the receivers can catch it and then go. I want you to throw guys open. I want you to, lead the running back and, what he's always done. So I want to see it. If we do that 10 times, I want you to get 10 out of 10. That's going to give you a ton of confidence as you play Michigan and Michigan State down the road, because I think where the pinpoint accuracy is what, will take you and lead you to bigger things versus just sitting back and say, okay, let's throw it deep. I also want to see him challenge some of the younger receivers to go win some 50-50 balls. And let's see if we can get Dane Keith going. Can we see some more expansion of his route tree and see if we can feed him. Can we move? And also I want to see is, the crispness of in and out of the huddle, the shifts, the mesh routes, and see what different guys can do with the ball in their hand, whether it's Carter Nelson, Heinrich Harburg, in the middle of the field. Because I really think in order for Nebraska to become an explosive offense, I always say you have to be able to be very, very efficient and explosive in between the hashes. And so this is a great game, like Nick Saban said, to practice that, then also see what works and what doesn't work.
Once again, 402-464-5685. The Starter Heyman text line is open for you throughout the entirety of the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Just as a reminder, make sure you tune in immediately following Nebraska's game today against Houston Christian. We got Jay Foreman and I on the postgame show with Austin Norman and the crew to follow as well. Following what we hope and expect to be a Nebraska victory today. Is it weird in your mind for us to be operating this mindset of like Nebraska's going to go out there and whoop tail and it's going to be, or is that what needs to be the mentality going into today?
Well, I mean, obviously you want that to be the mentality, but I mean, when you're playing Houston Christian, I mean, let's not sit up here and lie to ourselves, right? Yeah. Let's be realistic, and that's fine. I mean, you can win, 41-0. Or 63-7, it all has to be the same when they turn the tape on and evaluate it as they get ready for the next week's game. And so, sure. I mean, if you're sitting up here and thinking, okay, well, this might be a struggle.
Yeah.
Well, I think your mindset is different. But you can be you could be confident and not cocky. You know what I'm saying? There is a difference, right? You can be confident, not arrogant. And confident is that they've hopefully done what they're supposed to do. They've, made some improvement. This is going to be another game. We have bigger, stronger, faster athletes that's going to face some resistance, but eventually we'll take over. Versus arrogant was like, okay, we're Nebraska. We just didn't practice this week, and we're going to go play. There's a big difference in that.
A little bit of a twofold question here for you before we get out of here. Let me finish this sentence. Nebraska gets caught in a slow wake up. Why? Or on the other side, Nebraska comes out and dominates because.
Slow wake up because sometimes your third game is your little bit of your lull game.
Yeah, I don't want to call it a trap game because I think even if Nebraska comes out a little lethargic, I think they'll be fine, right? They'll be fine. So that's why I said slow start, because I think the way you start is an important part.
Yeah, it is. And the slow start could be predicated on how the other team's playing. But the third game is kind of where you like, okay, well, where you again, either working on things or you just start a little slow because it's the third game, right? You got the first game excitement. Second game has got to be instant improvement. Third game is like, okay, we're a little bit too comfortable. And I think Nebraska blows them out if they come out with the right mindset and hit a big play early. I think that if you hit a big play early against this team and make them pass the ball because they want to run the ball, the scoreboard could be ringing up real quick, like we're at the casino or something. You
Well, let's
bingo.
Let's hope we hit bingo. There we go.
Red 7, 6, 9.
No, it's you got to do the 6 or 7 thing.
6 or no.
That's what you got to do.
I'm too old for that.
That's the thing nowadays. I even feel too old. I didn't even know if I was doing it right.
I don't either. I don't even know what it is, but I know I'm telling you, Red 7.
Okay. Well, there you go. We know Jay Foreman's game. Once again, this segment brought to you by our friends Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits. Make sure you stop in today and elevate your next pour. All right, prediction time. Not as much score because I think we're both pretty in agreement with the score. It's going to be a lot to a little, but let's talk key players. On one side, maybe not a starter, one of the reserves that maybe we saw a glimpse of last week.
Yeah.
Offensively, let's start off on that side of the ball. I'm gonna go first. I think I like the idea of a Quinn Clark today to really step and take a big step that we see potentially he could play in the Big Ten Conference.
Dang, you took my man.
We haven't talked about this.
Okay, I'll let you.
But how did I know? Because that's why I had to go first.
Yeah, because you always listen to me and then take all my stuff. But that's cool.
Oh, is that so?
I always plan for you. Always have something in the back pocket.
Should I try to tell you this? Is your second guy Mekhi Nelson?
Nope. My second guy is Carter Nelson.
Nelson, the other Nelson.
Because he got mentioned by Dana, and they know they got to get him going. I think they're going to target him early and often.
Yeah. How about defensively? I'll let you go first on this one.
I think this is a game that you hear Watson Trent's name like you should have been hearing his name.
The law firm, as you refer to.
I call him the law firm, the hyphenated name.
I like somebody up on that defensive line. I don't know. I mean, maybe Petchak shows up again.
Yeah.
This is actually going to be a starter, but we haven't talked about him maybe the way we expected to. I think we see a big game from Riley Van Poppel today. I think this is a day. One of these games, and I feel like this is really one of the few to last opportunities where Nebraska can be really disruptive on the defensive front. And I think Riley Van Poppel is maybe gets a couple of guys in the backfield today. So we'll see what happens. But Nebraska wins big.
Yeah, I'm going to say, you know what? I think the game is going to be 44-3.
Okay, no shutout.
I'll just give you that. I'll be complimentary. Houston Baptist. I played down in Houston, man. I know some of those guys. I'll be nice, man.
Okay, well there you go.
All right, 44-3. We'll give you a complimentary 3 and then send you home with your chiz at.
It's gonna be a warm one. Just a reminder, you can bring an unopened in a sealed water bottle into the stadium.
You can?
Yeah, today you can.
It's gonna be
it's gonna be a warm day at Memorial Stadium, so make sure you stay hydrated. Enjoy the beverages. Also, hopefully, for Nebraska's sake, the concession lines are moving a little smoother.
Yeah, libation, hydration situation.
Let us know how those things go. 464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line are open for you guys. Once again, this segment brought to you by our friends at Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits. Stop in today, North 27th Street, and elevate your next pour. All right, we got one more segment coming up from the Kindler Hotel. Aaron Davis, AD, is going to join me.
Hey, Ron, where are you right now?
For the next 20 minutes or so as we continue coverage on the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show.
You like David Goddard? He's back.
That's Jay Foreman.
He's back.
AD is going to join me next year on 93.7 The Ticket.
Fall is here, and so are cooler temps, darker evenings, and slick roads. Is your vehicle ready for the change in seasons? At A1 Automotive, we've got you covered. From tire checks, brake inspections, batteries, and heater systems, we make sure your car is road ready for the Nebraska winters ahead. Don't wait until the first frost. Schedule your fall car care checkup today and drive with confidence all season long. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Stonebrook Exterior is your trusted partner in exterior solutions for both residential and commercial projects across Lincoln and Omaha. With over 2 decades of expertise, they deliver everything your building needs, all under one roof. From roofing and siding to gutters, wall systems, custom masonry, and metalwork, Stonebrook handles it all with precision, safety, and professionalism. Take the worry out of your exterior projects. Choose Stonebrook Exterior, where quality, safety, and service come together seamlessly. Visit stonebrookexterior.com or call 402-438-5559 to get your free quote today.
I'm Kirk Herbstreit, and today I'm eating Raising Cane's.
Herbstreit's in the drive-thru again. Oh, hey, Kirk. What can I get you today?
I want a solid bench of 4 chicken fingers that are real difference makers. Crinkle cut fries with dynamic ridge patterns, Texas toast, and cane sauce with an air of smugness that comes from knowing you're the best. Now back to you, Todd.
So the usual.
Make Raising Cane's part of your game day lineup. One love.
It's game on at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Nebraska's premier power sports dealership. Stocking top models from Can-Am, Kawasaki, Honda, Polaris, CF Moto, Suzuki, Yamaha, Indian Motorcycle, Sea-Doo, and Triton trailers. Score big on our massive selection of Can-Am side-by-sides with rebates up to $3,000 on select in-stock models. Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered all under one roof with a large selection of side-by-sides, ATVs, motorcycles, and personal watercraft at their 27th and I-80 location. They can't wait to get you set up for football season.
Join LES at 6 p.m. Thursday, October 9th at the LES Operations Center to learn about the utilities' proposed 2026 budget and electric rates and share your input at the annual public meeting. Learn more at les.com.
Nebraska fans, it's game day in downtown Lincoln. Big Ten Sports Bar is your ultimate spot to catch Nebraska football and volleyball, with every game on every screen all day long. Today, they're bringing the party with Sidetrack Band all day long, and Velvet Crush takes over tonight. Doors open bright and early at 8 a.m. Grab breakfast, stay for the game, and keep the night going with full kitchen open until midnight. Big Ten Sports Bar, downtown Lincoln's home for Nebraska sports, bands, good food, and drinks.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The Kindler Hotel in downtown Lincoln is a boutique hotel experience unlike any other in the area. Their 45 well-appointed rooms take inspiration from the history of Lincoln. Their double queen rooms are great for guests traveling with family, and the suites are great for a business trip or romantic getaway. No trip to the Kindler is complete without a handcrafted cocktail from Boitano's Lounge on the main floor, with comfortable seating options both inside and on the outside patio. Book your room today at thekindlerhotel.com in Lincoln at 11th and P.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Okay, friends, if you haven't seen the new TV and audio experiences at Schaefer's, you are seriously missing out. They just got a glow up, and it's a whole vibe. We're talking custom frame TVs, invisible speakers, and plenty of giant TV options. And there may or may not be cold brew on tap in the kegerator. Whether you're designing a man cave, a lady lounge, or just a really good movie night, this is a great place to start. Come check out the new showrooms only at Schaefer's, local, trusted, and cooler than ever.
Looking to upgrade your equipment and keep cash in your pocket? Through August at Landmark Implement, get up to a 24-month waiver on select John Deere tractors and combines, or lock in a 1.9% fixed rate for 36 months, followed by 6.2% interest fixed for up to another 36 months. When planning for this year's harvest, we've got a solution that works for your bottom line. Visit your Landmark Implement today and check us out at landmarkimp.com and experience the Landmark difference.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Back to the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Brought to you by the Kindler Hotel.
Welcome back in. It is the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show. 93.7 The Ticket. Nick Sainer and Nat Laugh, the one and only Aaron Davis.
I love you.
We're here with Doug the Dog. This segment brought to you by our friends where we are at the Kindler Hotel. Make sure you book your stay today at the Kindler Hotel in one of their 45 well-appointed guest rooms that provides luxury in the heart of downtown Lincoln. Enjoy a drink at Boitano's Lounge while you're here and take in the outdoor patio. Book your stay at the Kindler Hotel. I'm actually going to be able to stay at the Kindler here in a couple of weeks.
Are you?
A little staycation, yeah.
Nick,
we're going to take advantage of an opportunity.
So you're going to just stay here at the Kindler just as a staycation?
A little staycation action.
Yeah.
Okay. Once again, Nick Sainer, Aaron Davis with you. All right, AD, which speaking of, shout out to the Kindler. I can't believe I'm doing this. On a warm day, I'm drinking hot coffee.
I'm proud of you, man.
I feel like I'm coming of age.
Nick, I almost called you just for the heck of it this morning at about 4:15.
You could have. I was up.
Were you serious?
I was. I
Did
ran
you just
to the
get
gym
home,
this
or were you
morning.
up?
No, I did not.
Oh, I was up.
Because
I was just getting home.
That is not true. That is not true. I got home from doing Lincoln Southeast and Creighton Prep last night with
Which
Jay.
was a heck of a game, too.
It was a good game. The scoreboard not indicative of how close that game could have been, should have been. Got home and then ended up waking up about 4:30 this morning and went to the gym. And so,
man, I'm proud of you.
Thank
Nick,
you.
You know what? You're turning over a new leaf, man. You know, you're understanding that the early bird gets the worm.
That's something like that.
You know,
I'm a little tired. That's why I got coffee.
Why'd you get up so early?
Well, because we had a 11 a.m. kickoff and 8 a.m. pregame show.
So
we still ran a little bit late today. I left Austin, unfortunately, to set up the entire Kindler broadcast. I felt bad about it. I did text him, though.
Did he apologize? Did he let you know?
I let him know, and
Okay.
I texted him about 7:35. Yeah. It was
so wait a minute, 7:35. What time are you supposed to be here?
Like 7:30.
So you're 5 minutes late.
5 minutes late to the text.
And yet he was up at 4:30. He was still late.
I was still late. I made a little bit of breakfast and
What up, Jake?
had some issues, all this stuff. All right, AD, let's talk about the game. Once again, this segment brought to you by our friends at the Kindler. Let's talk this game. Jay and I kind of went devil in the details.
Mm-hmm.
What are you looking for in addition to just the scoreboard? Obviously, we expected to be favored for Nebraska. What do you want to see from the Huskers today?
Absolute chaos.
Yeah.
And last week against Akron, I talked about destroy and dismantle. Yeah. And that's exactly what they did to them. And the reason why I say those words like that, when you were 3 or 4 deep, you're more physically imposing. You have way more talent on your roster. And this is not a disparaging remark against Houston. It's just the fact. You know what I'm saying? So I look for Nebraska to destroy and dismantle again, because this team, they're going to it's an inferior team. That's just calling it what it is. And I don't want Nebraska playing with their food, Nick.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't want Nebraska to be slugging it out with them in the third, because here's the reality. A week from now, we're talking about a different team. Obviously, you got to take first game first. But in order to get those guys the rest and things they need, eliminate chance for injury, starters get in there and take care of business early. Man.
I think that's what I'm also – I mean, one thing that pleased me, and not even impressed, because I think we need to get past the point of being impressed by just basic situations. And what I mean by this, as I expand, is when the subs, when the backups, when the reserves got in last week, you didn't notice a difference. It was, you could tell that they were fresh, but you could tell that they played with a ton of confidence. And I think that's one thing I want to see again this weekend, today against Houston Christian, to where Nebraska goes out, and whether it's Riley Van Poppel and Elijah Judy and Cam Lenhart and Dasan McCullough, or if it's guys like Cade Petchak or Sualufotu or whoever it is.
Say that name again.
Sualufotu.
I like how you say it. That's like a rap song. Sualufotu.
You shouldn't be able to tell by the effort or the level of effort if it's a starter or a reserve in there.
Nick, you're spot on. There should be no drop off whatsoever. Like I was telling you and the listeners yesterday on the air. The starters, when those guys came out, they looked at the knuckleheads like me. It's like, hey, we built up this lead. Now go extend it. There should not be a drop-off. And, when you think of, again, there's going to be some guys, Nick, that are going to be trying to get the coach's eyes for further down the season. Yeah. So you have to maximize the reps that you have out there and not let down. That's going to be the biggest thing. I don't want to see them jump up and then, like we've seen in years past, they make it more of a game than it should be.
That's where, take away the Matt Rule halftime stuff that got quote unquote leaked. Take that out of the conversation here. I think when you look at Nebraska this season and going forward, if they truly want to become this program that can put people away and step on the throat and truly knock off teams they're supposed to beat in a fashion they're supposed to win, but then also knock off teams that they're not supposed to win against or even aren't favored against. You have to have this consistent mentality. We use the cliche phrase faceless opponent all the time. Today's got to be another example of that, to where you don't really care who's lined up against you. You don't care what all the outside noise guys like us are saying about how the score is going to be lopsided. Shouldn't matter. Go out and show it with your pads.
Well, the pads do the loudest talking, and that's the thing that Nebraska of years past has been a little bit inconsistent about when they're playing inferior teams. They have given teams hope. So far, we have not seen that one game. Obviously, the Cincinnati game was a slug match. And quite honestly, I'm going to go back that again, Austin and Nick both. We don't know how good Cincinnati is or isn't at this point. And they're going to get to the meat of their schedule today, I believe. I forget who they play today. But they play if you can look that up for me real quick, Austin, because I know their schedule gets a lot deeper. So we don't know how good Cincinnati is or is not. The bottom line is Nebraska got the win, because you go to Arrowhead a couple weeks ago. That's a game in the past. Nebraska would have lost that game. In fact, they would have found a way to lose that. They found a way to get it done. Raiola played an efficient game. Yeah. And they got
Northwestern State.
Yeah, they're going to take care of it. Yeah, they're going to take care of it. What is their name? The Huskies or the Bearcats?
Neither.
Care Bears or something like that? I don't know. They're going to beat them like they Care Bears.
They might be mascots.
Maybe it's the next week. They got Kansas. I knew Kansas was coming up. So, they should take care of business this week. We'll see who they are. But if we bringing it back to Nebraska, though, Nick, let your pads talk. I don't want Houston to have even an inkling of a thought that maybe we can get in this game. And, I always like sharing this story, man. We had guys on kickoff return that would say, I'm going to go down there and knock somebody out.
Yeah.
And then would do it.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not advocating to go knock somebody out, but it's a part of the game. As long as it's part of the game, you set a tone early and let them know, I can't wait until the playing starts for us to go back to Houston.
Yeah, I think that's another part of it. A lot of what we're talking about is centered around mentality, right? You got to have this just mentality in your mind of we're going to go out there and whoop some butt, whoop some tail. And so I think like that's part of it is you got to go out there and just take care of business.
Right.
On the other side, though, if Nebraska can be, I think, very strategic with the way that they do things offensively, defensively today with the substitutes. We're going towards another week to where Nebraska could play over 100 players today. But ultimately, when it's said and done, you say it all the time, just win.
Just win. Nick, I'm going to ask you this. How many – okay, obviously the game has not been played. We know nothing at this point. It's all speculation. How much time would you like Raiola to be in before you pull him out? If I'm going to say this, and I know this is all hypothetical, what's the number on the scoreboard when you say it's time to shut it down, take the keys away, and put them on the sideline?
I think you manage it very similar to last week, if not a little bit earlier. We saw where, Matt Rule told us earlier this week that he actually wanted to pull Dylan Raiola out a possession before they inevitably did, but Dan Holgerson advocated to keep all the starters in for one more drive. And so, we'll see what happens. I would imagine middle of the third, potentially, they can get it to where Nebraska gets one drive in the second half and they're able to kind of pull guys. I think that's the most realistic option. With that being said, I'm excited to see TJ Lateef again. I actually hope that we get to see more of TJ Lateef this weekend. Jalen Gramstad has his role on this team.
Yeah.
His role is certainly to be a leader on the sidelines, not necessarily to go play quarterback.
Senior statesman.
Yeah, 100%. He needs to be ready, and he'll be fine, right? But I want to see a larger sample size of TJ Lateef today.
What made TJ Lateef so unique to, granted, the moves, we've seen the quick feet, we've seen how he commanded the offense. And it's against Akron, but still he showed command of the offense. What were the intangibles about him that you've seen just in the short piece that we had of him?
I know everybody loved the run where he had the dead leg and he was able to kind of get almost to the end zone.
Was that the stanky leg or was that the dead leg? Because there's two things, Austin. You got the stanky leg.
I can't do the stanky leg.
Just go like this, Nick.
I can't.
You've been up since 4:30. You can do it.
I can't.
You can do it.
My hips. Your back must feel okay, though.
Well, no,
I don't want to hear anything about your back.
He's always, you know what? You're always coming at me about my back.
Well, I'm just saying because move my leg. That looks good.
No, that's part of the Zulu tribe, which is part of us.
Okay. It's hot outside and it got hot in here. So anyway,
they said okay. Okay.
Here's the thing. No, what impressed me, that there was one throw that impressed me the most about TJ Lateef last week, and it was when he threw it to. It wasn't Quinn Clark. I can't think of the other guy. The other one.
Was it Smith?
Keelan Smith. Thank you, AD. Keelan Smith. He rolled out to his right, threw on the run, evading pressure, threw it on the run, and was able to put it in the ball along the sideline that Keelan Smith hauled it in for a first down. That was the play that I said, okay, you know what? It doesn't look like he's necessarily a true freshman getting his first appearance in Memorial Stadium today. I thought, what we've heard, what I've heard out of practice is that he's made some better throws than even other quarterbacks on the roster, that TJ Lateef has shown up in practice. And it's been very interesting to think about because he comes here to Nebraska. And this is why I also respect TJ Lateef and Dayton Raiola and Trey Taylor. They know what they're walking into.
Right.
They know that in a world where a program is taking a quarterback commit year after year, they're going to have the lesser of the two greater abilities to potentially start or potentially play significant time, especially for a guy like TJ Lateef. He knew that he wasn't going to start this year. He knew that Dylan Raiola is Nebraska's franchise quarterback, and that's fine, and rightfully so. Dylan's proved and earned that spot. But when it's all said and done, the ability to be ready to go when your name was called and then go and show out, that's one thing that I was really impressed with TJ.
You look at Archie, and you're hoping, obviously last week we were talking about Nebraska's punter who had international media, to my understanding, at the game last week. His family was in town from Australia.
Still is.
Still in town. Yeah, I hope they didn't come just for like 2 days.
They only came for the Akron game and they didn't punt. No, I'm kidding.
And they didn't.
They've been here for a couple of weeks.
So if nothing else, to see him get a punt today, I'm going to go to special teams again because that is something that has been our Achilles heel for quite a few years, and we've seen major improvements the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Obviously, Eckler. What do you think Eckler has brought to the special teams that they're actually looking like a special teams?
Nastiness.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's brought this edge to where the tackling on special teams has been better. The punt return game in week 1 was not great, but Nebraska hasn't also given up some explosive returns.
Right.
They've done a really good job. Part of that is the job of the specialists, the kickoffs. The kickoffs out of bounds have been a little bit of an unfortunate piece of it, but they've done their job for the most part. We know we've seen what we've seen from Kyle Kananen in the field goal kicking department. And last year, it wasn't even just always about the specialists. It wasn't always about John Hole.
Right.
It wasn't always about Brian Buschini. It was about the process.
Right.
The rest of it, the snap, the hold, the blocking.
Right.
We've seen that through 2 games, a small sample size. We've seen that take a dramatic step in the right direction.
Nick, when it comes to the point where you're not mentioning special teams as much, we're mentioning it because of what we do, but also because it's been such a dramatic improvement. That is a good thing. You know,
100%.
because in years past, Nebraska, we would always staunch in special teams. And under Coach Osborne's regime, when I was there, special team was focused on just as much as offense, as much as defense. And if there was a hiccup, you were called out.
Yeah.
Run it again. Run it again, because special teams are crucial in games. Field position, flipping the field, etc.
I think what's really interesting, and I talked to some people that were here in Mike Eckler's first stint. This was right after he got the job at Nebraska. Talked to some people that were here, members of the team, but then also that just kind of watched from afar. And a lot of the similarities, I should say this, a lot of the things are the same with Mike Eckler in 2025 that there was in the early 2000s when he was here his first time around. Number one, that's preaches to consistency.
Right.
I'm such a big fan, and nothing bothers me more than when people come out and the approach to games that you expect to win in blowout fashion, and you say, you know what, we're going to keep things close to the vest.
Right.
We don't want so-and-so to know what we're wanting to run. We don't want so-and-so to know what we could potentially do offensively. No, who gives a crap?
Right.
Who gives a crap?
Right.
Ohio State's not holding back punches against Grambling last week.
They
right?
were not 70 to nothing.
So if you have to, I think Nebraska's issue the last couple of years, and this predates Matt Rule, Nebraska's issue has been they've been more concerned about other teams than what they're more concerned about themselves.
I'd agree.
And so at some point, Nebraska's got to get just past that, whether it's in the spring game, whether it's in game 1, game 2, game 3, or game 8. I don't really care. You never hold punches. Never let your foot off the gas. And so going back to your Mike Eckler conversation, that's exactly what I appreciate about Mike Eckler is whether Nebraska's up 60-0 or they're tied 0-0, he's got intensity and he's got a maximum energy on the sideline, which is infectious for his players.
Nick, they always, the old saying in sports in general, the teams tend to take on the personality of their coaches.
Yeah.
And Nebraska has done that in special teams thus far. Obviously, we're only 2 games in, but the special teams have proven that they are going to be a beacon of light instead of doom of darkness like we've been in the past. So it's good to see Nebraska do that. The energy is infectious, Mike Eckler. Nick, we are just about an hour and a half from kickoff. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Predictions.
We got plenty of Husker fans walking around.
I asked Jay.
Ready to roll. I love it. Go Big Red.
I asked Jay.
You know it, right? Good to see you, man.
I asked Jay what is a key player offensively and defensively for you today for Nebraska?
You know what? Defensively, I really want to see Elijah Judy get nasty today.
Okay.
Against a team that he should be able to do that. To hopefully give a warm-up what he'll do next week against Michigan. But I would like to see, I'm going to make it more just a player. I'm going to make it a collection of guys. I want to see the D-line get some sacks in there today. Offensively, no penalties.
Okay.
I think
what
that's
about a player.
And as far as an individual player, I would love to see Emmett Johnson put in work early and get out. Put his hard hat in and Riley to play consistent. But Emmett Johnson, I want to see him play consistent again and then get out and get ready for next week.
I'm really interested to see the how they utilize the wide recievers again today. We've seen Isaiah Hunter kind of become one of Dylan's favorite targets the first 2 weeks. Nebraska, we forget, not forget, but hypothetically, we forget they have an all-SEC wide receiver on the other side.
Absolutely.
Dane Key has been
Mr.
relatively quiet in terms of explosive plays these first couple of games of the year. Let's go ahead and see Dane Key have a big day today for the Huskers. How about defensively? Oh, you said Elijah Judy.
Yep.
I said earlier that I think it's a big game for a guy like Riley Van Poppel. So we'll go with two guys that are in the middle on the front.
And I'll say this one on defense. Remember I said this about a month ago about Sierra Wright.
Yeah.
They do not throw. In fact, there were folks that wondered if he even played against Cincinnati.
Well, and he also looks different this year with the single digit. Also looks a little bit different. So once again, this segment brought to you by the Kindler Hotel. That's where we're sitting. Shout out to them for the coffee.
Yes.
The Kindler Hotel. Book your stay today at the Kindler Hotel in one of their 45 well-appointed guest rooms. They provide luxury in the heart of downtown Lincoln. Enjoy a drink at Boitano's Lounge while you're here and take in the outdoor patio.
Hey, there's the Beaties.
Book your stay at the Kindler Hotel. Once again, Nick Sainert, he's AD Aaron Davis.
That's Chad Beatty. That's Jennifer Beatty that went to Lincoln High.
Let's go ahead.
That's her son right there. She never talked to me in high school. I'm like, Jenny, how are you? She's like, loser.
We got to get out of here. Nick Sainert, AD. Nebraska wins big.
My score is 54-10 Nebraska.
There you go.
What's yours?
I'm going to say Nebraska eclipses the 60-point mark for the second week in a row.
Love it.
I think Nebraska wins 63-7.
I like it a lot.
63-7 is Nebraska's victory. Honestly, I don't really care. Same story as last week. That the point spread on those against an FCS point is tough. 43.5 is the actual point spread.
Yeah.
I could really care less if they cover that. Just win by a comfortable margin. Be disciplined, like Jay, AD, and I have talked about the last couple of segments. When we come back, it's Terrell Farley and Todd Euler. We're sending it back to our 93.7 The Ticket Studios. This will do it for our time at the Kindler Hotel. Thanks for listening. Don't go anywhere. The A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show continues next on 93.7 The Ticket.
Fall is here, and so are cooler temps, darker evenings, and slick roads. Is your vehicle ready for the change in seasons? At A1 Automotive, we've got you covered. From tire checks, brake inspections, batteries, and heater systems, we make sure your car is road ready for the Nebraska winters ahead. Don't wait until the first frost. Schedule your fall car care checkup today and drive with confidence all season long. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Sapp Brothers is celebrating college football season with the Big Red Fuel Giveaway. When you contract your fuel with Sapp Brothers Petroleum, you can enter to win $1,000 in fuel credit on their website. Sapp Brothers is your local expert for fuel, propane, petroleum products, and services, plus your partner in agriculture. Learn more about the contest at sapbros.net or stop by one of their 17 centers, including in Lincoln at 6001 Cornhusker Highway. Whether you're hauling harvest or headed to the game, Sapp Brothers fuels Nebraska.
Nebraska fans, it's game day in downtown Lincoln. Big Ten Sports Bar is your ultimate spot to catch Nebraska football and volleyball, with every game on every screen all day long. Today, they're bringing the party with Sidetrack Band all day long, and Velvet Crush takes over tonight. Doors open bright and early at 8 a.m. Grab breakfast, stay for the game, and keep the night going with full kitchen open until midnight. Big Ten Sports Bar, downtown Lincoln's home for Nebraska sports, bands, good food, and drinks. Stonebrook Exterior is your trusted partner in exterior solutions for both residential and commercial projects across Lincoln and Omaha. With over 2 decades of expertise, they deliver everything your building needs, all under one roof. From roofing and siding to gutters, wall systems, custom masonry, and metalwork, Stonebrook handles it all with precision, safety, and professionalism. Take the worry out of your exterior projects. Choose Stonebrook Exterior, where quality, safety, and service come together seamlessly. Visit StonebrookExterior.com or call 402-438-5559 to get your free quote today.
MWR is dedicated to building attractive, affordable steel buildings that exceed your expectations. From commercial to residential to agriculture storage, steel buildings are cost-effective, attractive, and versatile. Plus, they're a lasting investment and an ideal choice. MWR uses Sentinel Building Systems out of Albion and can service you all over the state and region. If you have interest in a steel building, post-frame building, or fencing, give MWR a call today at 402-980-5273 or go to mwrbuildingandfence.com.
When the clock strikes 0 after every Nebraska football game, there's only one place to go for instant coverage. Tune in for the Husker After Party Postgame Show on 93.7 The Ticket for each game, win or lose. Call in with all your takes or text the show at 464-5685 and hear quotes from the players and coaches, too. It's the Husker After Party Postgame Show, sponsored by Anderson Ford and Vinny Krikak of State Farm Insurance.
It's game on at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Nebraska's premier power sports dealership. Stocking top models from Can-Am, Kawasaki, Honda, Polaris, CF Moto, Suzuki, Yamaha, Indian Motorcycle, Sea-Doo, and Triton trailers. Score big on our massive selection of Can-Am side-by-sides with rebates up to $3,000 on select in-stock models. Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered all under one roof with a large selection of side-by-sides, ATVs, motorcycles, and personal watercraft at their 27th and I-80 location. They can't wait to get you set up for football season.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The Kindler Hotel in downtown Lincoln is a boutique hotel experience unlike any other in the area. Their 45 well-appointed rooms take inspiration from the history of Lincoln. Their double queen rooms are great for guests traveling with family, and the suites are great for a business trip or romantic getaway. No trip to the Kindler is complete without a handcrafted cocktail from Boitano's Lounge on the main floor, with comfortable seating options both inside and on the outside patio. Book your room today at thekindlerhotel.com in Lincoln at 11th and P.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
I'm Kirk Herbstreit, and today I'm eating Raising Cane's.
Herbstreit's in the drive-thru again. Oh, hey, Kirk. What can I get you today?
I want a solid bench of 4 chicken fingers that are real difference makers. Sprinkle cut fries with dynamic ridge patterns, Texas toast, and cane sauce with an air of smugness that comes from knowing you're the best. Now back to you, Todd.
So the usual.
Make Raising Cane's part of your game day lineup. One love.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Back to the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show, brought to you by Elway Power Sports of Lincoln.
All right, welcome back into the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show. We got Houston Christian coming up just about a couple hours away here. This segment is sponsored by Elway Power Sports of Lincoln. It's game on at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Nebraska's premier power sports dealership, stocking top models from Can-Am, Kawasaki, Honda, Polaris, CF Moto, Suzuki, Yamaha, Indian Motorcycles, Sea-Doo, and Triton trailers. Stop by their 27th and I-80 location. Today we got Todd Euler, Terrell Farley in. Gentlemen, how's it going on this Saturday morning? Now there we go. Let me turn your mic on for you.
Thank you. Doing great this morning. Early slaughter game.
Yeah.
What I call it. Get it over with and get it out the way.
It's game day.
Yeah, that's it.
Let's go. I know it's Houston Christian, but I still get pumped for every game day.
Yeah, me too. But these games right here, I have to get extra pumped. So I'm drinking a little Gardita from the mill.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard, thanks to the mill for the Gardita. But Houston Christian, same foe as like last week, but a little bit different, I think. When you talk about competition wise, like to see the starters do the same thing they did last week. Let's put them away early, get the young guys in, and try to save as much energy we can for Michigan next week, because as we know, we do play a Big Ten opener next week, but we have to focus on this game, make big plays, capitalize on every opportunity you get, make sure you're the most physical team on the field, and try to do something special on special teams. Kickoff return, punt return, need to get that going to get that energy back in the stadium for next week.
I'm pumped, man. Every game day, I feel like get the goosebumps and want to get on the field myself, but I know that would be horrific. I would end up in a bunch of pieces. But yeah, I think we need to see our offense come out and do what it did last week, if not even at a higher clip. That would be, beneficial to get those guys, get some points on the board, get out of the game, stay healthy for next week. This should be a tune-up game, but you just never know with some of these things. We've got to take care of the ball, and we got to play great defense, right? So I think that's what we want to see, right? As fans, as former players, we want to see them take care of business, right? And I think that's the next step for this team is, can we take care of business when we need to take care of business, right? It doesn't seem like we've been able to do that in the past for, very well. So that's the kind of the next step to see if this team really is going to take that step to becoming a great team instead of just they're a good team right now.
Well, I think one thing you have to be careful about is how we play before halftime or after halftime. Mm-hmm. Do you want the speech again, or do you just want to go out there and play the game and don't worry about the speech? Now, that's one thing that everybody talks about last week. Well, the speech at halftime. Give it to them at the beginning of the game. Make them go out there and play the first two quarters like they're the last two quarters, and make sure you be able to get the guys the playing time that they need. Because I don't think we need 2 quarters of Dillon. I don't think we need 2 quarters of Emmett. Quarter and a half work may do it. It may not. But I think with second and third team, you can defeat this team. Let these young guys eat. Let's figure out who we're going to redshirt, who we're not going to redshirt, who's going to make the traveling squad, who's going to do this. So there's a lot of things we got to figure out about this team still. And what a perfect way to do it in another game like this. Now you've got these 2 preseason games out the way. Now you concentrate about next week. But first, let's just handle Texas Christian, Houston Christian, a school who haven't been playing football but since 2013. So
it used to be Houston Baptist.
Yeah. So we're not really worried about what they're going to do. We need to be worried about how we're going to do against them.
Assignment football, do your job, and you don't do it for yourself. You do it for the team, right? It's can we gel on all levels of the game? I love what you said about special teams. I thought we saw special teams last week take a step in the right direction. Obviously, this is the first time I've seen a punt return that long in a bit last week. So
they're gunning to bring one of those back too. You can see it.
It's going to happen. And once again, against lesser competition, we need to be able to do the things right the first time. We've got 2 games under our belt. That's a lot of film for these guys to study off of. I know that, getting better every week. So can we get better this week? And that would exactly what you said, Terrell. That means getting our starters a quarter and a half, right? And that's really up to the defense, in my opinion. Like, because if Houston Christian decides to just run the ball every play, right, and they pick up a couple first downs, they eat a lot of that clock, right? So, and then obviously our offense has to score, but I think that shouldn't be a problem.
You would hope not. It's a bad omen if we do.
The defense has to get off the field,
in
order for us to only play those starters for a quarter and a half, because we need the ball. I mean, you can only score when you have the ball.
Yeah.
So
Another concern is that I want this team to try to do today is let's figure out who is the second running back.
Yes.
We
that's
have
a big
to figure
discussion,
out
isn't
when you look at the carries these guys, Emmett 39 carries, Quentin Eyes 7 carries, Dylan Riola 7 carries,
Nelson Moses.
1 carry, Mose 1 carry, Nelson 4 carries.
Yeah.
Let's figure out the guy to get a bulk of this work too, besides Emmett Johnson. Emmett Johnson is a great back. He's averaging 130 a game in the first 2 games. Yes, we want him to be a 3-game 100-yard rusher, but at the same time, we got to find a reliable backup, because when we talk about backups, you play a tough team, and when you play a tough team, say something happens to Emmett, he goes down. Now, you're not running back by committee.
No.
But if you figure out that with a guy like Quentin Eyes, can he get back on track? Can he get himself back in football shape? Because he had the hamstring injury right around camp time. So let's see if he can polish himself up. One of these running backs got to take control of this second tier running back spot.
I think too. Watching Quentin last week, he looks like he was injured in fall camp. Right? He's running. I wouldn't say soft. Heavy. I like that. I was going to say soft, but heavy, right? Especially down at the goal line. I thought, why isn't he, but you could tell that he probably missed a lot of camp with that hamstring, and he's just not so, hopefully we can see him take that step. I still think Mekhi Nelson should.
Yeah.
I mean, that once again, that guy was what I saw in practice. I haven't seen on the field yet.
Yeah. It's different when you see it in practice.
But, I would like to see him pop off and get a couple big runs.
Yeah.
Because he's capable of it. I've seen it in practice. But we just haven't seen it on the field. So you're right. Our second team running back is up in the air right now. We can't get stopped on the goal line this week the way we did last week. We got to do the fumble by Emmett. I mean, that was a perfect hit. I don't care who you are.
9 times out of 10, you're going to fumble that.
I would say 99 out of 100. You're going to fumble that. The guy had his helmet right on the ball. So, that would have been another score right there. The goal line stand. I mean, that's 14 more points before half, right? So, I think go out, take care of business. These early games, we talked about that a little bit. That's, we get done, we get to go watch some other football. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I'll be at home watching it. Defensive wise, I need the Huskers to get more turnovers. You're supposed to get sacks against teams like these. You should have to.
How many sacks do we have?
One sack on the year. So you need to create a lot of pressure, get sacks, get turnovers, INTs. This is a team you should capitalize off their mistakes.
How many turnovers we have?
Probably 1.
2.
2.
We got the interception
against Cincinnati,
and to recover a fumble last game.
I think we did recover.
Yeah, something like that. But we need to be a team that can create turnovers, that can wreak havoc out there. I haven't seen the aggressive part of this defense yet. We know the back 7 are great, can defend the pass right now, but I need to see this defense get angry. I need to see the defense knock balls out the quarterback hands, catch INTs, run it back down the field. I just need a turnover defense that that we can that gives the offense that energy, short yard of the field they can go work with and get us on the clock.
Well, to your point too, even if it's we don't get the turnover, there's coverage sacks to be had. We
Yeah,
talked about that back seven, how good they are.
We haven't did that yet. I mean, we're a defense that's got young guys that got probably we're lighter than last year. We should be a lot quicker, but we're not adjusting to it. We're not making the plays that we should make in sack coverages. We miss the quarterback a lot. Go upfield a little bit too much. Defensive ends needs to crash down a little bit more instead of going all the way upfield. Linebackers need to fill the gaps when they do their blitzes and hit it on a timely manner. Not a bad thing, but I think we could do better at the the point of sacks and probably INTs.
Well, that's your point. Like that Cincinnati game, that's where Sorsby was making his bread and butter. There was nothing out there. I mean, the coverage was great, and then those ends would get too far upfield, and he'd just break it up. If we get that part, we can manage that contain a little bit better. I think we'll start to see those sacks start piling up for us. But that being said, only a few minutes left. I don't know. Is there a score when you look at these games? You guys even do score prediction? Like, what are you looking for?
55 to zip, man.
So last week I predicted the shutout. It hadn't happened in 187 games. I don't know. I know 97 was the last time we had 2 shutouts in a season. They weren't back to back, so I didn't do the. I should have looked it up.
They're tied with 95, 2 each, 2 shutouts.
Two
apiece.
shutouts in a row in
Yeah.
95.
No, not in a row.
In a row
in a season. Okay.
Yeah, but we didn't play 2 teams back to back like this.
so I'm calling it. I'm calling it 56-0. I think our defense shuts these guys down. Even the second team, third team are going to be able to shut these.
Let's
guys
go
down.
60 again. Let's go to the 60s.
Well, 56. I just think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we'll get a lot of guys.
Get
in
it out
early.
your system. Go get 60 one more time.
Well, we
Get
put
it out your
73
system.
up like Indiana did.
Yeah,
Indiana put
yeah.
73 up on Indiana State.
Yeah, they
so-
got the click on the remote control quick too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think another shutout's in order. Throw the bones a lot today. You know what I loved about last week too was at the end of the game, the stands were still full.
Mhm.
You know, and it was 60 whatever. I don't know.
68-0.
I mean, you know, and that's something that we
I don't know. It's going to be hot today, 93.
Yeah.
So
that's something that Terrell and I talk about, the fact that, you know, when I got into play, you know, as a four string I-back, the stands were still full, right? And that's so cool as a player. And so, you know, once again, greatest fans in college football. Stick around, watch the young guys get reps. It's awesome. So I hope a lot of young guys get reps today. It should be a fun game. It is going to be hot. 90 degrees.
93.
93.
Yeah.
Carly got a score. You just called shutout.
56-0.
56-0. All right. We got to throw it to our break here. Again, we'll have Adam Carricker coming up next. But again, this segment was sponsored by Elway Power Sports of Lincoln. We'll throw it to break here. This is the A1 Automotive.
Big Red.
Go Big Red.
All right.
Experience an electric vehicle firsthand at LES's EV Ride and Drive, September 28th at the LES Operations Center. Registration is open now, but spots are limited. Visit les.com/drive to reserve your drive.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Stonebrook Exterior is your trusted partner in exterior solutions for both residential and commercial projects across Lincoln and Omaha. With over 2 decades of expertise, they deliver everything your building needs, all under one roof. From roofing and siding to gutters, wall systems, custom masonry, and metalwork, Stonebrook handles it all with precision, safety, and professionalism. Take the worry out of your exterior projects. Choose Stonebrook Exterior, where quality, safety, and service come together seamlessly. Visit stonebrookexterior.com or call 402-438-5559 to get your free quote today.
Sap Brothers is celebrating college football season with the Big Red Fuel Giveaway. When you contract your fuel with Sap Brothers Petroleum, you can enter to win $1,000 in fuel credit on their website. Sap Brothers is your local expert for fuel, propane, petroleum products, and services, plus your partner in agriculture. Learn more about the contest at sapbros.net or stop by one of their 17 centers, including in Lincoln at 6001 Cornhusker Highway. Whether you're hauling harvest or headed to the game, Sap Brothers fuels Nebraska.
Fall is here, and so are cooler temps, darker evenings, and slick roads. Is your vehicle ready for the change in season? At A1 Automotive, we've got you covered. From tire checks, brake inspections, batteries, and heater systems, we make sure your car is road ready for the Nebraska winters ahead. Don't wait until the first frost. Schedule your fall car care checkup today and drive with confidence all season long. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
Are you facing a legal problem and don't know where to turn? You need trial attorneys you can trust. Liberty Law Group's experienced trial attorneys will handle your case with professionalism and compassion. Whether you've been accused of a crime, injured in an accident, or threatened with a lawsuit, you can trust that Liberty Law will be there for you. Call to find out how Liberty Law can help you. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Call the trial attorneys you can trust. 877-42-LIBERTY.
Okay, friends, if you haven't seen the new TV and audio experiences at Schaefer's, you are seriously missing out. They just got a glow up, and it's a whole vibe. We're talking custom frame TVs, invisible speakers, and plenty of giant TV options. And there may or may not be cold brew on tap in the kegerator. Whether you're designing a man cave, a lady lounge, or just a really good movie night, this is a great place to start. Come check out the new showrooms only at Schaefer's, local, trusted, and cooler than ever.
When the clock strikes 0 after every Nebraska football game, there's only one place to go for instant coverage. Tune in for the Husker After Party Postgame Show on 93.7 The Ticket for each game, win or lose. Call in with all your takes or text the show at 464-5685 and hear quotes from the players and coaches too. It's the Husker After Party Postgame Show, sponsored by Anderson Ford and Vinnie Krekak of State Farm Insurance.
The Kindler Hotel in downtown Lincoln is a boutique hotel experience unlike any other in the area. Their 45 well-appointed rooms take inspiration from the history of Lincoln. Their double queen rooms are great for guests traveling with family, and the suites are great for a business trip or romantic getaway. No trip to the Kindler is complete without a handcrafted cocktail from Boitano's Lounge on the main floor, with comfortable seating options both inside and on the outside patio. Book your room today at thekindlerhotel.com in Lincoln at 11th and P. It's game on at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Nebraska's premier power sports dealership. Stocking top models from Can-Am, Kawasaki, Honda, Polaris, CF Moto, Suzuki, Yamaha, Indian Motorcycle, Sea-Doo, and Triton trailers. Score big on our massive selection of Can-Am side-by-sides with rebates up to $3,000 on select in-stock models. Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered all under one roof with a large selection of side-by-sides, ATVs, motorcycles, and personal watercraft at their 27th and I-80 location. They can't wait to get you set up for football season.
At Jimmy John's, we don't make sandwiches. We make the sandwich of sandwiches. We use fresh veggies because we don't hate salads. We just feel bad for them. We make our sandwiches exactly how you want because you're the one who's eating it. And we bake bread all day, every day because stale bread isn't bread. It's croutons. Sandwich history is written by the victors. Good thing we have legible handwriting. Jimmy John's, the sandwich of sandwiches. Order pickup or delivery on the app.
Back to the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Brought to you by Raising Cane's.
All right, welcome back into the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show. We got Houston Christian coming up here shortly. This segment sponsored by Raising Cane's. Hey, football fans, this season Raising Cane's Countdown in Lincoln is placed to be before and after the game. Stop by 14th and P Street 2 hours before every home game for giveaways, good vibes, and their signature hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers, crispy crinkle-cut fries, buttery Texas toast, and the legendary cane sauce. And when the final whistle blows, the party going with live DJs from whatever collective and unmatched energy for 3 hours after the game. With that being said, let's bring in the man of the hour, or the segment, I should say, Adam Carricker. How's it going on this Husker football Saturday?
Dude, it's Saturday. We got Husker football. Could life be any better?
No, I don't think it could. This is all I asked for.
I agree.
Carricker, what are you looking at in this game in particular when you do get a school like Houston Christian where, you know, you don't want to walk in and you can be realistic about who they are, but at the same time, you don't want to just walk in there and act like it's going to be handed to you to have the same sort of dominant win that we had last week.
No, you don't want to take anything for granted. You expect to win, but you go take it. It's not going to be handed to you. You go take it. So if I were playing, like when I played in games like this, I had certain goals. There was no disrespect to the opponent, but there was an awareness of who they are and who we want to be and who we believe we are. And my goals, I'd want to shut out, just being a defensive guy, not saying we'll get it for a second week in a row, but that would be a goal of mine. I'd want to be out of the quarter. out of the game, I'm sorry, before the end of the third quarter or by the fourth quarter at the latest. So the other guys are getting reps. And I'd want it to be obvious that the game is in hand by halftime or even before then. And those would be my goals. And that's how you stay motivated week in and week out, regardless of the opponent.
And is this game where are you looking for the way it looks? Are you looking for a score total when the clock hits 0? What is a successful day for Husker football look like at the end of this game?
Oh, man, it's a little bit of both. I want to, like Houston Christian wants to run the ball more. Okay, so I want our run defense to look a little bit better. Matt Rule's made it clear, if you just pay attention to what he said, he's not happy with the pass rush and consistent pressure on the quarterback at the rate it's been so far this year. So defensively, those are the two things you're looking at, but you want to keep doing really well what you've been doing. You don't want to have lapses. Like you want the pass defense to continue to be insanely sticky. You want the kicking game on special teams. Let's not kick any ball out of bounds, but punting and kicking wise to continue to be good. Let's have the return game continue to grow, especially in the kickoff return. Offensively, let's continue to have big plays. Let's continue to stay disciplined for the most part. But when we get in the red zone, let's put points on the board, especially touchdowns.
Yeah, and that's the part. Even last year, we had some red zone woes. Last week, it was really just those opening 2 drives where you get it at the 1 yard line. The expectation should be, go ahead and get 6 points, 7 points with the PAT after. And then you credit the guys for battling back and not letting it tank that first quarter. But it took a little bit for them to be consistent when they got there in the red zone. On the defensive side of the ball, I do want to ask you, you kind of mentioned it. When it comes to this teams, I think we only got 1 sack on the year so far. With the coverage we have in the backfield, you would think those coverage sacks are going to be a little easier to be had. That quarterback, whoever we're playing against, with what we have in that backfield, probably going to be holding on to the ball a little longer than they'd be comfortable with. Are you surprised so far to see us, with the sack tally only being around 1? And do you expect that to kind of pick up here in this game versus Houston Christian? Because, again, we got Michigan coming up here soon.
Yeah, no, that's actually a good point. I haven't heard a lot of people make that point. If the longer he's holding on to the ball, the more opportunity we have to get after the quarterback up front. With Sorsby in the first game, he was just running all over the place. He's not Michael Vick, but that's who popped into my head. There was 3 different times I should have had just a sack on Michael Vick, and he Houdini'd me, and I have 0 career sacks on Michael Vick. Now, he's not Michael Vick, but that's, again, who popped in my head. So those guys can be a little bit challenging in their own right when it comes to getting more. And I made this point a couple times this week. Let's say a team passes 40 times in a game. If you get 4 sacks, that's a lot of sacks in a game. But if those are the only times you hit the quarterback, that's a really low pressure rate. So you want to be hitting the quarterback, hurrying the quarterback, knocking the quarterback down, getting batted balls. Those are the things I would also like to see increase the pressure rate. And if you have a higher pressure rate, you'll naturally get more sacks. But it's about the pressure rate as a whole. And we just haven't been able to have a high pressure rate so far this year.
Who do you expect to kind of step up defensively, or who are you looking forward to go ahead and make that next step? And in a game like this as well, I mean, you can go from a starter to possibly third string.
Man, for me, bad pun intended, I am waiting for Riley Van Poppel to pop off at some point. Okay. Vincent Shavers is a guy we've heard about for 2 springs, a couple of seasons, and rightfully so. He has flashed what he can do. Relatively quiet so far this year. Marquez Watson-Trent. He was the number 2 graded linebacker in the entire country, according to Pro Football Focus, that was coming back for another year in college football this year. So those are 3 guys that they're good football players. You just they gotta make their presence felt a little bit more known. Left tackle offensively, it's Gunner. He's the starter, but solidifying left tackle, feeling good about it. Even if you look at the snaps from the Akron game, the other 4 starters had 54 snaps in that game. He had 38. They still were working in Pritchett, and they were still working in Corcoran. So solidifying that left tackle spot just a smidge is kind of what I'm looking at. And then who emerges? Is it Mackay at the running back spot? Is it Quentin? Is it Mosey? Who steps up as that other running back or other couple of running backs? And those are kind of the spots that I'm watching today.
Yeah, the running back, we'll get to that in a little bit here because I'm also curious to how that's going to shape out between 2 and 3. Again, I hate to keep looking forward with Michigan, but Michigan's game where you'll be at that second string running back probably sooner than later, knowing how physical of a team that is. Defensively, some of the guys you mentioned, Watson Trent, I'm kind of waiting for him to have that moment as well. Another guy who just had a lot of hype out of the transfer portal coming to Nebraska. I'm still waiting for Minari to have that impact on the game, where we haven't really had too many moments in the backfield. Versus Cincinnati, he let Sorsby get by him a few times, over pursuing a little bit too much downfield. That's a guy who I'm kind of waiting to have that moment in this game. And again, to your point, it doesn't have to be sacks, but getting pressure in the backfield consistently. And then for the running backs, who do you think is going to be solidify themselves as that running back too? Do you have any sort of strong feeling about who that might be yet?
I know coming into so for a couple of years, Matt Rule would just randomly mention, ever since he got here, Quentin Ives in random press conferences throughout the year. Okay. He gets banged up literally the first drill of fall camp. He's been kind of working his way back. I think at some point he'll make his presence felt. It's just he's kind of going through camp. Just he's doing it in games right now because he's finally getting healthy. It was the week of the first game when he really got healthy. So he's still kind of getting into the flow of things. You look at Isaiah Mosey. I mean, a guy who was a receiver. You move him to running back for a reason. You got him in the kick return plans as well for a reason. You want to get the ball in his hands. I can't help but wonder where he's newer to the running back spot, if it may take him a little bit longer. They clearly want to get the ball in his hands for a reason, but there's a learning curve there. Mekhi Nelson was the guy coming into this season. You would hear and you would see things about the way he runs, his explosiveness, his speed, and any of those guys can step up. But I'm kind of waiting for Mekhi Nelson as Quentin Ives gets healthier and more into the flow of football and Isaiah Mosey learns the position. And I know Mekhi's a freshman, but I'm just like, man, I'm just kind of waiting for Mekhi, and hopefully today's the day for him.
Yeah, both of those guys looked pretty good in that last game. Again, you understand it's the competition, but they took advantage of it, and that's exactly what you want them to do. I'm in the same camp. Like, there's something about Ives where they really, really like that guy. I don't know if he'll be 2, but I wouldn't be surprised if he moves up to that 3rd spot, and then it's kind of up to Mosey Nelson. Nelson right now is kind of my pick on the horse just because he's got a little bit more experience with it. Mosey's still getting used to that position, but both guys showed really just I don't even want to say a ton of improvement, because in that Cincinnati game, I think, they both of them got less than 5 carries, so you just didn't see a whole lot of them. Last game was a good game for them to kind of get their confidence, and you hope for that to go ahead and continue. With that being said, though, well, how many yards is a good goal in this game versus Houston Christian, knowing that if things go well, we'll probably be getting to Nelson, Mosey, and some of those other guys?
As far as like total offense or rushing yards for a running back?
Ground. And then if you want, you can put a total offensive yards as a whole with passing as well.
So did you say rushing yards?
Yeah, rushing yards.
As a team, I'd like to see well over 200 as a team, because the amount of yards that pops into my head is 600. I'm not going to expect 700 again. And again, they're going to run the ball more. The game, it's not going to be like we're playing Army Navy, but the game will be a little bit shorter than it was last week. So maybe 550, 600 total yards of offense, something like that. And if at least 40% of that or a third of it, because I have a feeling a lot of big plays might come through the air today, is rushing. So 200 to 300 yards rushing, 250, something like that.
That's where I was like, anything over 200 sounds like a pretty good dominant day versus a team like Houston Christian. I think that should be pretty obtainable regardless of who you got in there. Do you go with the score prediction on this game? I don't even know what the spread is. I think it was maybe 42.5. It might be even higher than that. Or are you just looking for how it looks at the end of the day?
Both. 68-0 last week meant something. A lot of the first, and we know this, the first shutout, the first time over 700 yards, the first time scoring 68 points, it's 09, 12, etc. Those things mean something. Okay, so you don't want that to just all of a sudden be diminished or again, regress. It doesn't have to be 68-0. So for me, I was told that if Akron played Houston Christian, Akron would be favored by 13 points. So it's like, oh, you got to win 81-0. Well, no, that doesn't quite mathematically have to equate that way. My score prediction that I had earlier this week was 56-7, which would make us a 49-point favorite. And as you mentioned, we were 42.5, at least the last time I looked. Something in that range, score at least 40 points. We can't be back in the 30s. 50 or over would throw me at least over 40. Do not give up over 1 touchdown or 1 field goal to them. They should not get in the double digits. And then do we look the same in the areas we've looked good in, and do we look better in the areas we need to improve in? Those are the 2 biggest things I'm looking at.
Yeah, and we're trying to figure it out before in the last segment. When was the last time Nebraska had not just 2 shutouts in a season, but back-to-back shutouts. I'd have to do some more history, but if they can pull off another shutout, that'd be fantastic. To your point, for me, I'm more looking for how it looks. 6+ touchdowns, I think, is a good day, given what you get on defense if you get enough stops. But nonetheless, I'm not too worried about the final score, as long as we're not going ahead and giving them a bunch of points. As long as we got a pretty strong lead. And again, with this, when you're mixing in the bench in there, you want those guys to compete the same way. But we'll kind of see how all that shakes out. With that being said, we do got to get out of here. Carricker, I'll give you this: 3 keys for Nebraska to have a dominant day.
Stopping the run up front. They're going to try to run the ball on offense. Stopping the run. Their quarterback, with all due respect, he's struggled. He's barely completing over 50% of it. I think it's actually under 50% of his passes.
I actually got it right here. I can give you exactly what it is. It's so Jake Weir, he is 32 for 61, just over 52% completion.
That's what I thought, 52. So stopping the run up front. Okay. If we're going to do 3 things, I would like to see our kick return game be much more consistent. The punt return game looked a lot better. And offensively, when we get inside the red zone, let's have a very high batting average today.
I like it. With that being said, I'll give my 3 keys later. We do got to go ahead through at the break here. Again, this segment was sponsored by Raising Cane's. Definitely check it out today. And I got a little bit of after party as well after the game. But don't go anywhere. We still got plenty left here on the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. That is Adam Carricker. I'm Harrison Arns. Up next, we got Austin Orman. He'll be joining you as well. So don't go anywhere. The A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgame show continues.
Experience an electric vehicle firsthand at LES's EV Ride and Drive, September 28th at the LES Operations Center. Registration is open now, but spots are limited. Visit les.com/drive to reserve your drive.
Fall is here, and so are cooler temps, darker evenings, and slick roads. Is your vehicle ready for the change in seasons? At A1 Automotive, we've got you covered. From tire checks, brake inspections, batteries, and heater systems, we make sure your car is road ready for the Nebraska winters ahead. Don't wait until the first frost. Schedule your fall car care checkup today and drive with confidence all season long. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Stonebrook Exterior is your trusted partner in exterior solutions for both residential and commercial projects across Lincoln and Omaha. With over 2 decades of expertise, they deliver everything your building needs, all under one roof. From roofing and siding to gutters, wall systems, custom masonry, and metalwork, Stonebrook handles it all with precision, safety, and professionalism. Take the worry out of your exterior projects. Choose Stonebrook Exterior, where quality, safety, and service come together seamlessly. Visit StonebrookExterior.com or call 402-438-5559 to get your free quote today.
Are you facing a legal problem and don't know where to turn? You need trial attorneys you can trust. Liberty Law Group's experienced trial attorneys will handle your case with professionalism and compassion. Whether you've been accused of a crime, injured in an accident, or threatened with a lawsuit, you can trust that Liberty Law will be there for you. Call to find out how Liberty Law can help you. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Call the trial attorneys you can trust. 877-42-LIBERTY.
When the clock strikes 0 after every Nebraska football game, there's only one place to go for instant coverage. Tune in for the Husker After Party Postgame Show on 93.7 The Ticket for each game, win or lose. Call in with all your takes or text the show at 464-5685 and hear quotes from the players and coaches too. It's the Husker After Party Postgame Show, sponsored by Anderson Ford and Vinny Krikak of State Farm Insurance.
The Kindler Hotel in downtown Lincoln is a boutique hotel experience unlike any other in the area. Their 45 well-appointed rooms take inspiration from the history of Lincoln. Their double queen rooms are great for guests traveling with family, and the suites are great for a business trip or romantic getaway. No trip to the Kindler is complete without a handcrafted cocktail from Boitano's Lounge on the main floor, with comfortable seating options both inside and on the outside patio. Book your room today at thekindlerhotel.com in Lincoln at 11th and P.
Husker fans, on the field, every yard counts. At home, every drop does too. That's why Coligan, your game day water sponsor, is giving you $300 off a whole home water system. Rather rent? Score big with Culligan for just $9.95 a month for your first 3 months. Huddle up at CulliganHuskers.com to grab this exclusive offer. That's CulliganHuskers.com. It's soft water that protects your home, cleaner, great-tasting drinking water for the win, and the refresh you need to cheer loud all season long. Get water you'll love at CulliganHuskers.com.
Limited time offer. Participating dealers. Restrictions may apply.
At Jimmy John's, we don't make sandwiches. We make the sandwich of sandwiches. We use fresh veggies because we don't hate salads. We just feel bad for them. We make our sandwiches exactly how you want because you're the one who's eating it. And we bake bread all day, every day because stale bread isn't bread. It's croutons. Sandwich history is written by the victors. Good thing we have legible handwriting. Jimmy John's, the sandwich of sandwiches. Order pickup or delivery on the app.
It's game on at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Nebraska's premier power sports dealership. Stocking top models from Can-Am, Kawasaki, Honda, Polaris, CF Moto, Suzuki, Yamaha, Indian Motorcycle, Sea-Doo, and Triton trailers. Score big on our massive selection of Can-Am side-by-sides with rebates up to $3,000 on select in-stock models. Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered all under one roof with a large selection of side-by-sides, ATVs, motorcycles, and personal watercraft at their 27th and I-80 location. They can't wait to get you set up for football season. Husker fans know when you work together, great things happen. At Cornhusker Bank, they're more than your financial partner. With 5 locations in Lincoln and 1 in Omaha, they're your neighbors, your teammates, and your biggest fans. Whether you're saving for your first home, planning your future, or growing your business, they're right here in Nebraska to help you move forward together. Visit cornhusker.bank to learn more. Cornhusker Bank, member FDIC. Doing life together.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Back to the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show, brought to you by Currency.
Rolling right along, A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show, live from 1040 O Street, taking you all the way up to kickoff between Nebraska and Houston. Christian, Austin Norman, Rudy Grace in studio with you. Now, this segment brought to you by Currency. Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options at Currency, hiring full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, and other fields. Apply today at gocurrency.com. Nebraska 2-0, Houston Christian 1-1. Big shout out to the Nebraska Athletic Department for some game notes, giving us all sorts of stuff to go over here as we approach kickoff. Of course, Nebraska in the Big Ten, Houston Christian, members of the Southland Conference, formerly known as Houston Baptist University. Nebraska has played 15 games all-time against FCS opponents. All of those, I believe, have come since 1992. The most recent time Nebraska ended up playing an FCS opponent was just last year. Nebraska takes down Northern Iowa 34-3. Rudy, I know you've been here in Lincoln for a handful of years now, right? Going into your 5th year at Wesleyan this coming year. You've been around for Nebraska's most recent games against the FCS ranks. Fordham 52-7 was pretty comfortable. The last two for Nebraska, though, have been comfortable margins at the end of the day. But sitting there watching them, Husker fans, I don't think have been necessarily thrilled with how the team played. In 2022, Nebraska gets back from Ireland. They take on a North Dakota team that was able to run the ball with pretty good success. It ends up a 38-17 Nebraska win.
but it was in doubt into the third quarter. Nebraska had to put that one away in the fourth quarter. And then Northern Iowa, an even bigger margin by 10 points. Nebraska wins at 34-3, but Huskers score on their first drive. Northern Iowa takes the rest of the first quarter up in terms of time of possession. I think Husker fans are certainly happy with any win. Moving to 3-0 on this season is always the goal. But the last couple times Nebraska's played a team from the football championship subdivision ranks, the performance has been a little less than inspiring. So I would ask you, and I would ask Husker fans, what are your expectations? What will make you feel good about a win against Houston Christian today?
Yeah, I think you said it best. Like, they're not wins that you kind of see these other top programs around the country when they do face FCS teams where it's like 70-0, big wins. And obviously you can't get that every time you step on the field entirely. But if Nebraska is going to be the team that they're trying to be, the team that Matt Rule believes they are already, these are the games that do have to get out of hand pretty quickly, or at least win in a dominant fashion to where it's like, okay, they didn't let them hang around. They took care of business. Kind of exactly what we saw last week. But I think, like you said, FCS this week, you kind of want to see that a little more, maybe a little quicker. But I think like that, they got to take care of business like we see these other big programs that are doing that pretty easily.
The opponent today is Houston Christian out of the Southland Conference. 1-1, like I said, they lost to Eastern Kentucky a week ago today. In the loss, Houston Christian held Eastern Kentucky to just 173 total yards, which is more than they allowed to their week one opponent, who was Arkansas Baptist. We've had all these questions about, is Nebraska really legitimate? Are they that good? Are they a product of their competition? And I think the same can be said for Houston Christian, who dipped below their own level to go play Arkansas Baptist and then swung up a little bit to take on a decent Eastern Kentucky team at that level. So, yes, the numbers look incredibly impressive for Houston Christian through 2 games, even if the record is just 1-1. But I think for all the questions we're asking about who has Nebraska played, you can ask the exact same thing of the Huskies. Nebraska 3-0 all-time against current members of the Southland Conference. 1-0 against Nicholls State. Vaguely remember that game. I think Nebraska put up 55 in it. The Southland team that stands out more to me, though, is McNeese State. Nebraska had played them once in school history before, a game that I was actually at, Rudy, 2014. Nice. I think that was a top 10 FCS team, McNeese State, by the time they came to Lincoln. Nebraska won that game 31-24, thanks to some heroics from All-American caliber running back Amir Abdullah. He got a swing pass late in that game and ran through basically the entire Cowboy defense on his way to the end zone with under a minute to go. That was a pretty good Nebraska team. I mean, it was a Bo Pelini team that ended up winning 9 or 10 games, as they all did under Bo Pelini, that Nebraska struggled with. I think McNeese State that year is much better relative to the level than this Houston Christian team. But we've seen lesser teams come in, give Nebraska a game before. Rudy, how confident are you in this Nebraska team being mature enough to avoid the trap game mentality, looking ahead to Michigan, to come out and take Coach Rule's message to heart from halftime last week and apply that again today?
Yeah, no, I feel like you're saying, it's realistically at the end of the day going to be on the team how they come into this game. But I think with what Rule has been saying in the interviews, even that leaked video from the halftime, I think he's not going to allow them, or at least on his end, he's going to do everything he can to not allow them to fall into that trap. And so it's the way they respond for sure. But I think with who they have around them coaching wise, I think Dylan Raiola too is going to be someone who knows that what could go wrong in these games. So I think they're going to, I feel very confident in them, and I'm a Longhorn fan, so that's saying something. But I really do believe that they're going to be kind of in shape on this. And if not, then we're running into some issues. But I think last week could have been a big trap thing too. Like, obviously this is the lesser of the opponents, but the way they handled business last week, it's kind of the exact same script in my opinion. Like, go out there, handle business, do it dominantly. And I think they'll follow up with that as well. I think they know people are kind of not expecting them to fail, but trying to see like, okay, can you do it again?
Who do your Horns got today, by the way?
Today they got UTEP.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Let's bridge the gap there. Nebraska plays UTEP last year, wins that game 40-7 en route to a 3-0 mark in non-conference play. Of course, UTEP, Colorado, and Northern Iowa, the opponents for Nebraska last year, when Nebraska goes 3-0. Of course, 4-0 in non-con if you count the bowl win over Boston College. Nebraska searching for an opportunity to go 3-0 in non-conference play in back-to-back years. Nebraska currently on an 8-game win streak against non-con foes, longest by the Huskers since 99 through 2001, when Nebraska rattled off 12 straight wins in the non-conference. Just a little thing like getting to 3-0 in non-conference play it's what you should do if you're Nebraska. It's what you should expect. But I'll ask you this, Rudy. Would you rather, see Nebraska go 3-0 with, one game against a power conference team like they've had the last couple of years? Or would you be open to Nebraska challenging itself more in the non-conference, playing maybe a bigger name team in the non-con, maybe ending up with a 2-1 record? Would you feel better about 3-0 against mediocre competition or 2-1 with a tight loss against someone of note?
Yeah, I think it kind of depends on like you're saying, what powerhouse do they go after? I think like tying in the Longhorns right there, like we're more than likely going to start the season 2-1 after the Ohio State loss, but it's a loss where it's like they competed, they were in it, and it's fine. But I think there's also nothing wrong because I do think Nebraska strides away from where they want to be. Not too many, but it's like they're right there on the door of being a playoff team, and in order to get there, you do have to have these tune-up games to kind of get your season rolling. And I do wish, part of me wishes that the Longhorns would have gone that route, but I think there's benefits in both. I think you want to see where you can compete against these powerhouses that happen to be in different conferences, especially with the whole SEC Big Ten bias, or the argument there. I love seeing those matches anyways. So I could definitely see the benefits in both. I think for Nebraska, this is what they need, though. You have a young quarterback still. You have young talent. I don't think there's anything wrong with kind of tuning them up against lesser opponents at all. Start 3-0.
Just because the lesser opponent might come from a lower level, there's still certainly good players around. In Nebraska, this team has mined the FCS ranks for some of that talent. Got their long snapper, Kevin Gallick, out of New Hampshire. Andrew Marshall, starter and black shirt for Nebraska. They got out of Idaho. Jalen George from East Tennessee State. Jameer Khan, a guy that Husker fans might have heard about in the transfer portal when Nebraska got him, a little bit of an under-the-radar ad. I'm pulling up the availability report for Nebraska on my phone right now, and odds are good that we will see plenty of Jameer Khan today against the Huskies of Houston Christian, as Malcolm Hartzog Jr. listed as questionable on today's injury report. Alongside Hartzog Jr. on the questionable side of the report, Amari Sanders, Justin Rhett, Grant Bricks, Jeremiah Jones, and starting linebacker number 0, Javen Wright, is also on the questionable list. Not a bunch of news in terms of guys that are out for the year. Pretty much the same list that it's been for the Huskers there. The other FCS transfer, of course, to mention for Nebraska outside of Gallick, Marshall, George, and Khan would be Kyle Keenanen, who's come in and been money for Nebraska so far to start the year. Has not missed a kick. Has handled a couple kickoffs, I believe. 9 of 9 on point after attempts, and Kyle Keenanen has nailed his one field goal as well. So not going to be a pushover for Nebraska in Houston Christian. Huskers will have to go out there and play well to win. Of course, when we think about Nebraska playing well, Rudy, we think about the offense putting up a 68 spot last week. Most points Nebraska scored since 2012, second largest margin of victory for Nebraska since a 70-0 win over Kansas in 1986. If I asked you, Rudy, where does Dylan Raiola rank on Nebraska's all-time passing leaderboard right now? Through, what would that be, 16 games of his career? Where would you guess Dylan Raiola ranks?
I don't know, because I know he had a really good year last year. Towards the end of the year, at least he heated up. I know he finished
at a run-the-ball school.
Yeah, finished with some. I want to go like 7, maybe 6.
He's 10th.
Okay.
Moved into 10th already last week through just 16 career games. Pretty good honor for him. And then alongside him in that offensive backfield, you look at Emmett Johnson, back-to-back 100-yard rushing games to open the year, 108 against Cincinnati, 140-some last week. First Husker to rush for 100 yards in back-to-back games since 2022. Nebraska's put up some decent running numbers overall, but it hasn't been from the running back position. Rudy, what are you liking that you're seeing from Emmett Johnson so far this year?
Yeah, I clearly remember calling out in the middle of the summer that I was going to be a huge fan of his. And I like the way he just aggressively runs, because he's not someone that's going to flash speed at like a quickness rate where it's like, oh, he just beat out everybody. It's like he's going to power through some dudes. He's going to bounce some dudes off of him. I just love how aggressive, how strong he runs the ball, because it's like speed is always going to be there regardless. He's not a slow runner by any means. But if you can, like we see it with Derrick Henry in a sense where it's like, if you can't tackle that guy, then you really are no value of a defender there. And we're kind of seeing these guys just bouncing off of him, not holding through the tackles. And so I'm always impressed by that, because the speed will be there. Some people can shut that down, but if you're hard to tackle, you're hard to tackle.
Indeed. Nebraska has had few issues tackling its opponents so far this year, and large part thanks to the good play of the secondary. Nebraska is allowing just 65.5 passing yards per game, 62 to the Zips last week, 69 to Cincinnati in the first week. Nebraska opponents also completing 45.8% of their passes is all. How about this, though, Rudy? Nebraska, the only team in the FBS to not allow a pass completion of more than 20 yards.
Yeah, that's one of those things where, like, no matter who you're playing, like you said, lesser opponent or not, there's going to be talent all around the country, and it's like that's not a stat. You can just be like, oh, well, they're playing so and so. It's like that's just elite defense right there. Wow.
Who sets the tone for Nebraska today, the offense or the defensive side of the ball?
I'm going to still go with just the offense, just because that is kind of what opened the gates for everything to kind of fall in place last weekend. And I think the defense is always going to be there. It's going to be very concrete regardless. So I'm expecting the defense to do what they did last week, but I'm also expecting the offense to kind of shine through again, just like we saw last week.
Fair enough. One last note for me from our game notes. Nebraska's four most recent opponents have scored a combined 5 points in the first half of games. So against Akron, no points allowed, just the field goal at half against Cincinnati. The first half safety against Boston College, and Nebraska was pitching a shutout on the road in Iowa City before the Hawkeyes came back and won that game last year. I'm excited to see more fireworks today. I think Nebraska has a chance to put some points on the board, but I will say the defense is the tone setter. See if they can go back to back weeks, 5 games in a row without allowing a first half touchdown. That'll be something to monitor for the Huskers. I'm out of here. I'm headed over to West Stadium to watch the game. I'll be back for after party. Rudy, hanging out with me on after party?
I will be here, yes.
There we go. Look forward to that coming up around about 4 o'clock. Don't go anywhere, though. We have more of the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show next on the ticket.
Join LES at 6 p.m. Thursday, October 9th at the LES Operations Center to learn about the utilities' proposed 2026 budget and electric rates, and share your input at the annual public meeting. Learn more at les.com.
Husker fans, on the field, every yard counts. At home, every drop does too. That's why Coligan, your game day water sponsor, is giving you $300 off a whole home water system. Rather rent? Score big with Coligan for just $9.95 a month for your first 3 months. Huddle up at ColiganHuskers.com to grab this exclusive offer. That's ColiganHuskers.com. It's soft water that protects your home, cleaner, great-tasting drinking water for the win, and the refresh you need to cheer loud all season long. Get water you'll love at ColiganHuskers.com.
Limited time offer. Participating dealers. Restrictions may apply. Load up on meat and more this fall at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This week's specials through September 16th are $1 off ready-to-eat meals, 20% off all pasta, and 8-ounce grass-fed, grass-finished sirloins for $9 each. Plus, stop by for lunch on Fired Up Thursday at the Mercado East or Fired Up Friday at the Mercado North. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney and Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription, or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
When the clock strikes 0 after every Nebraska football game, there's only one place to go for instant coverage. Tune in for the Husker After Party Postgame Show on 93.7 The Ticket for each game, win or lose. Call in with all your takes or text the show at 464-5685 and hear quotes from the players and coaches too. It's the Husker After Party Postgame Show. Sponsored by Anderson Ford and Vinny Kreekak of State Farm Insurance.
A fall aeration by Judson Irrigation will help maintain your lawn by maximizing the effectiveness of your watering and fertilization. Judson will flag the locations of your sprinkler heads, followed by a deep core aeration to give your lawn the breath of fresh air it needs. Schedule your aeration today. Your lawn will love you for it.
Let us aerate today to ensure a healthy head start for your lawn next spring. Go to judsonirrigation.com or call Judson Bylene 402-420-6277.
Are your feet just killing you and you feel like all hope is lost? Say goodbye to discomfort and hello to pain relief at Brown's Shoe Fit. They offer expert advice along with high-quality products to help you find the right solution tailored to your specific needs.
Need a different width? Not a problem. Brown's carries a wide range of widths in store. Brown's Shoe Fit on 66th and Q in Lincoln. The Kindler Hotel in downtown Lincoln is a boutique hotel experience unlike any other in the area. Their 45 well-appointed rooms take inspiration from the history of Lincoln. Their double queen rooms are great for guests traveling with family, and the suites are great for a business trip or romantic getaway. No trip to the Kindler is complete without a handcrafted cocktail from Boitano's Lounge on the main floor, with comfortable seating options both inside and on the outside patio. Book your room today at thekindlerhotel.com in Lincoln at 11th and P.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
At Jimmy John's, we don't make sandwiches. We make the sandwich of sandwiches. We use fresh veggies because we don't hate salads. We just feel bad for them. We make our sandwiches exactly how you want because you're the one who's eating it. And we bake bread all day, every day because stale bread isn't bread. It's croutons. Sandwich history is written by the victors. Good thing we have legible handwriting. Jimmy John's, the sandwich of sandwiches. Order pickup or delivery on the app.
I'm Kirk Herbstreit, and today I'm eating Raising Cane's.
Herbstreit's in the drive-thru again. Oh, hey, Kirk. What can I get you today?
I want a solid bench of 4 chicken fingers that are real difference makers. Sprinkle cut fries with dynamic ridge patterns, Texas toast, and cane sauce with an air of smugness that comes from knowing you're the best. Now back to you, Todd.
So the usual.
Make Raising Cane's part of your game day lineup. One love.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Back to the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Brought to you by Select Plumbing.
All right, welcome back into the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show. We're bringing in Chris Raff for this segment, and this segment is sponsored by Select Plumbing, now servicing Seward and Milford, in addition to Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area. For any plumbing issues, call Select Plumbing at 402-542-5319. Again, Select Plumbing. If you need any issues with plumbing, go ahead and call them 402-542-5319. With that being said, Chris Raff, how's it going? Saturday, game day. We got Houston Christian coming here in just a little bit.
Doing good, doing good. Game day, Operation Blood Moon.
Speaking of that, you know what? No one's talked about this yet, and there's only so much we can really size up with Houston Christian. We'll definitely dive into that. But what do you think of the all red uniforms, the red pants, the red tops? There's a little bit of I'm hearing two sides to this. I want to hear yours first.
Oh, I'm good with it. I don't even really worry about it too much. I think it's a good thing too that they're bringing them out against Houston Christian. For all intents and purposes, you got to think Nebraska's going to win this. So it'll put a better taste in Nebraska fans' mouths, I believe. Oh, the game that sticks out to me is the 1986 Oklahoma-Nebraska game. They popped out the all reds against Oklahoma, and I believe that was the game where Keith Jackson went around the end for 88 yards to start the game. So that was kind of a rough showing. Or was it the Brian Davis? Ooh, I got those 80s. It's been a while, it gets to be 40 years ago. I start to forget that stuff, but so there was that bad taste in their mouth. But being that they're bringing them out against Houston Christian, I think it's a good thing. And then, trying to, like, I was thinking about it too. 11 o'clock kickoff, Houston Christian, trying to get up for the game. So, I mean, you've got some stuff, you got your Operation Blood Moon. You got the talk, the Bud Crawford, the team was wearing the Bud Crawford t-shirts into the game today. So, creating, a buzz that probably isn't normally around this Nebraska versus Houston Christian game. And I think they've done a good job of creating a buzz to where I think the team will come out ready to play today.
Yeah, that's a good point. It is a little bit of extra buzz. First morning game here for Nebraska. You got back-to-back night games to open the season. And then to your point, with all Reds, get a good taste in the mouth. I will say this: everyone always makes this stink about the alternate uniforms, and oh man, our record and the alternate uniforms are X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, if you were to take the last 25 years of Husker football, you can pick any metric you want. We're probably losing more than we're winning, especially if you take post Bo Pelini era. Pick any metric, the record's not going to be great. So I never thought it was the uniforms. And in this one, I do like the all red. I think it's sharp. There goes Enrique Alvarez Clare. He stopped by the station.
Rico.
Yeah, Rico stopped by. So shout out to him as he's going to enjoy the game. Let's get to the text line a little bit here. We got unknown texter 7250 says Skurs by a million. Gentlemen, go Big Red. 9518's prediction, Nebraska 62. He predicts another shutout. Houston Christian 0. And we got another text says, if they are ever up by 28 points, I would like to see it go to the second and third team guys. Raph, I won't necessarily ask for your score prediction, but what are you looking for in this game? When you get a team like Houston Christian, you don't want to walk into it just assuming you're going to blow them out 68-0 like we did last week with Akron. But at the same time, you don't want to build them up into something they're not.
Yeah, what I look for this game, it's been going through my head a little bit this morning, is when was the last time the Nebraska defense, the Black Shirts, had back-to-back shutouts? Like you see the references, Coach Rule made reference to the 68-0 win. It was like way back, I think the Kansas game, the last time it was like 70-0 or something like that. The yardage 728. So I think they do take a little bit of a look back into the history of it. So I'm thinking that's one of the things that you're putting out there today to your team is it's been like, if there's a listener out there that can help me, I was trying to Google it to find out, but when was the last back-to-back shutouts of Nebraska football? And I think that's definitely something you're shooting for today.
Yeah, I was trying to find that too on the Google machine, and I didn't have enough time to quick figure it out, but I could tell you this much, Raph. It's been a while. Wasn't anything in the recent years. I know I was talking to Farley in 95, they got 2 shutouts, but they weren't back to back. So back to back shutouts is a whole nother question. I couldn't tell you when the last time it was.
I found it. 1996. They defeated Texas Tech 75-0 at home and then followed it with a 38-0 road win against Kansas. So yeah, it's been a while. And I'm trying to go back, think back to that, but yeah, that'd be a big accomplishment. I think that's something you put out there. Like we had the listener that texted in saying, when we get up by 28 to get our second and third teams in, that's something you put out there for those second and third teams. If that shutouts, if we're still sitting at 0, that's the fire you put behind them. And like we had talked about earlier in the week, the more experience these players get and the better taste in their mouths they get, they're going to be better when their time comes. Like as Coach Rule was talking about, the house rules. Like he talks really in depth about what his thoughts are. But I'm not a starter yet. I don't play a lot. So it's that yet thing. So I think this is a great thing. And then you look at the future games that Nebraska has. This might be one of the final times where those third stringers see the field for a little bit. So I think today's big in those aspects also.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I was talking to Rebecca Pearson, station owner, about her thoughts on the game, her predictions, and to sum it up along the lines of she thinks the team's disciplined this year, that shouldn't be so much of an issue where these guys are ready, they're not going to take advantage of it. Do you think Matt Rule will need another halftime? Get into the guys, rip into them, and even so, he still might do it, just put a fire underneath them. But do you buy in that this team is? The discipline part is finally coming together, where it's not we don't have to ask. It's just kind of given by the players and it's understood.
Oh yeah. I think that's been one thing that's been set forth since he's got here. I don't think you'll see a fiery speech at halftime, but that's one of those things where you got to set the standard to those younger players that have not been around it. I mean, speaking to Rebecca, like you did, I mean, look at the station, for instance, the first year, DP felt that, he had to be around, because him and Rebecca. Now you have this where DP's down working in San Antonio this weekend. He knows he's confident. And I think that's the same thing with this Nebraska football team, to where Matt Rule's seeing that he has to say your things. Like, you can't overkill stuff like the fiery speech at halftime. You can't do that over and over again. He got it out there. Team takes it, runs with it. And I think that's what you'll see today. I don't know if you'll see any more fiery halftime speeches, leaked or the way they came out. I think that was probably what the point that he wanted to make. So I don't think there'll be anything like that. And I think those young players and the people in the locker room, that's the gravity. And you look at this, Nebraska's starting to get to that point where you're going to hear grumblings of, are they a top 25 team? So there's a lot in front of the Nebraska football team.
Yeah. And then there'll be a ton after this week. If you can handle business like you're supposed to, and we won't look too far ahead, but then obviously everyone knows Michigan's kind of been the big game. Everyone's circled, walking into that one 3-0. And again, you look good today. You put together another strong performance. Dylan Rails already got over 600 yards on the season. He's looking at around 78 completion percentage, like himself, like individual awards, team acknowledgement. We're at a point where it's getting set up on the stage again. It's up to Nebraska to actually take advantage of it. This isn't the first time that Nebraska's been in a position to sneak into that top 25, be one of those opponents that everyone's kind of dialing in on. Unfortunately, in years prior, that's kind of where we've wet the bed, when all eyes and all attention gets on us. This is another game where the eyes of the entire world are not going to be on this game. I can tell you that. But next week, they certainly will be, so you can set yourself up for it. And again, we won't talk about next week too much, but you kind of setting the stage here with this game and how you look. And if you can have another dominant performance, and then I think you will have a ton of eyes drawn into that Michigan-Nebraska game at home. And then again, you're kind of playing for, is Nebraska back or not? And every time, to my point, that we've had those games, we've kind of tell people like, well, just hold your horses. We'd like to think we are, but we're still a few paces away. Raph, give me 3 keys to, I don't even say victory, because I think victory should be pretty well expected, but for a dominant Husker showing, what are 3 keys?
3 keys. I guess instead of keys, I want to say what I'm going to be looking for, if I can do that instead, because I think Nebraska wins dominantly. But the one thing that I'm going to be watching today is the cat and mouse game between Dylan Raiola and the defensive coordinator for Houston Christian. He's known, they run a 3-4 base, but they change their fronts an awful lot, and the back end, the coverages. So you're going to see a lot of pre-snap reads, and you're going to see a lot of checks out of Dylan Raiola today. So it's going to be fun to see, because he's always talking about you critiquing, making the checks at the line of scrimmage. So I think today's game for me is going to be watching that and just seeing how well Dylan reacts to the coverage changes and the fronts that they change to. The difference between, running the ball. If you have, enough people in the box, throw the ball. People not in the box, run the ball. And it's just going to be fun to watch that cat and mouse game between Dylan and the defense coordinator for Houston Christian today.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Tight ends, another room that I'm a little bit curious on. Lyndon Meyer looks awesome. He's done great so far. What about the rest of the tight end room? Who are you still kind of waiting on to maybe break out a little bit?
I think all eyes of Nebraska are on Heinrich Harburg, but like we've talked about too, I think Nebraska's been very vanilla on offense. I think there is packages for Heinrich Harburg to involve him, down close to the goal line, maybe running the ball, passing the ball, catching the ball. I think I've said it for probably the last 3 years. I've been saying he reminds me of Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill. He reminds me of that's the kind of player that he can be. And I think if you see Heinrich Harburg going to the NFL, you're going to see him be at kind of that Taysom Hill position. It wouldn't surprise me one bit if he ended up with the Denver Broncos. So yeah, that's the guy that I think you're going to see more of Heinrich Harburg as the season goes along.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. Like so far, what we've seen, that I don't think that's how he's going to be fully utilized as the season keeps going down here. They tried that one unique package, wasn't great. They probably scrapped it. The QB sneak with Harburg in there last week, and it just kind of fell flat on its face. But again, I think they're still scheming up ways to get him involved, and I'll be intrigued if he one of those more just traditional tight end positions, or to your point, do they keep using him uniquely from Facebook. Here's some answers. Shout out to the ticket listeners. Nate Welch chimes in 1997. Your point you pointed out versus Texas Tech, then against Kansas. We got it last back-to-back shutouts, but here's this. Huskers went 14 straight shutout games between 1902 and 1903. So at one point, we were racking up 14 straight shutouts. 2 today would be phenomenal, especially, it's not Texas Tech and Kansas. It was Houston Christian and the Akron Zips. Definitely possible for this Nebraska team to pull it off. Any concerns about that defensive front and so far their inability to finish plays? I don't want to say they just can't get pressures. They can't get there. But versus Cincinnati, it was clear a little bit too much pursuit upfield, letting him go upfield, right up through that pocket. What do you want to see out of this front seven in particular?
Just domination. Domination. I mean, you got to believe that this team's, looking for the shutout today. So I think just complete domination of this team. Their offense nothing really sticks out to you with their offense. They do have a senior quarterback. I also noticed too, former Husker Charlie Weinrich is the kicker for them. So I guess that's one of the things you'll look at. And also too, I want to throw out this shout out to Nate Welch too. He is a former Nebraska mascot. So you got the Spirit Squad. You got the Spirit Squad listening today. So thanks for listening, Big Nate.
Yeah, shout out Nate Welch. That's fascinating. But there's got to be some sort of Hall of Famers for the mascots of Nebraska. Is there?
There is not, but with all the Hall of Fames and stuff like that, I think that's one of with the Nebraska Spirit Squad. Oh yeah, also too, throwing it out there, the Nebraska Scarlets, they'll be wearing cowboy boots, I believe, on the sidelines for the first time ever today. So there's some Spirit Squad stuff. They're creating buzz for this game. There's stuff to watch. So for an 11 o'clock game, there's a lot of stuff going on today. So
it's good.
There should be a Spirit Squad Hall of Fame. I like that.
I just think so. I wonder, because there's probably been some people on the inside would know better because we don't always know the faces, but there's probably been some mascots that have just absolutely killed it. And there's people you don't always fully acknowledge because, you just think of the duck, like the Oregon Duck living forever and the Herbie Husker living forever. But there is a person underneath there.
I will say this. There is a very close connection between Little Red and Miles, the mascot for the Denver Broncos. I will say that. So yeah, there should be a Hall of Fame for mascots.
And I know you're thinking something Broncos. Go ahead.
Yeah, and Spirit Squad. That's it. We're gonna have to talk to Deb White and Aaron Nicholson Butsky, the cheerleading coach, and see what we can set up here. Maybe we can get some statues and stuff. It'll be great.
Absolutely. Before we get out of here, Raph, do you want to put a score prediction on it?
Yeah, why not? Let's say Nebraska. Let's go 63 to nothing.
I like it. I'm gonna go 70-0. We'll see. I never thought we'd be so close to scores by 90 being a real possibility, but last week showed me it's not utterly impossible to be that dominant. We got to throw it to break, though. That is Chris Raff. We'll have one more segment. Me and Rudy will wrap things up right before we get to kickoff. Appreciate everybody listening. But as I mentioned, don't go anywhere. Again, this segment was sponsored by Select Plumbing, now servicing Seward, Milford, in addition to Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area. Don't go anywhere. One more segment, A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show. Join you on the other side.
Join LES at 6 p.m. Thursday, October 9th at the LES Operations Center to learn about the utilities' proposed 2026 budget and electric rates, and share your input at the annual public meeting. Learn more at les.com.
Fall is here, and so are cooler temps, darker evenings, and slick roads. Is your vehicle ready for the change in seasons? At A1 Automotive, we've got you covered. From tire checks, brake inspections, batteries, and heater systems, we make sure your car is road ready for the Nebraska winters ahead. Don't wait until the first frost. Schedule your fall car care checkup today and drive with confidence all season long. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Husker fans, on the field, every yard counts. At home, every drop does too. That's why Coligan, your game day water sponsor, is giving you $300 off a whole home water system. Rather rent? Score big with Coligan for just $9.95 a month for your first 3 months. Huddle up at ColiganHuskers.com to grab this exclusive offer. That's ColiganHuskers.com. It's soft water that protects your home, cleaner, great tasting drinking water for the win, and the refresh you need to cheer loud all season long. Get water you'll love at ColiganHuskers.com.
Limited time offer. Participating dealers. Restrictions may apply.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
When the clock strikes 0 after every Nebraska football game, there's only one place to go for instant coverage. Tune in for the Husker After Party Postgame Show on 93.7 The Ticket for each game, win or lose. Call in with all your takes or text the show at 464-5685 and hear quotes from the players and coaches, too. It's the Husker After Party Postgame Show, sponsored by Anderson Ford and Vinny Krikak of State Farm Insurance.
At Jimmy John's, we don't make sandwiches. We make the sandwich of sandwiches. We use fresh veggies because we don't hate salads. We just feel bad for them. We make our sandwiches exactly how you want because you're the one who's eating it. And we bake bread all day, every day because stale bread isn't bread. It's croutons. Sandwich history is written by the victors. Good thing we have legible handwriting. Jimmy John's, the sandwich of sandwiches. Order pickup or delivery on the app.
Nebraska fans, it's game day in downtown Lincoln. Big Ten Sports Bar is your ultimate spot to catch Nebraska football and volleyball, with every game on every screen all day long. Today, they're bringing the party with Sidetrack Band all day long, and Velvet Crush takes over tonight. Doors open bright and early at 8 a.m. Grab breakfast, stay for the game, and keep the night going with full kitchen open until midnight. Big Ten Sports Bar, downtown Lincoln's home for Nebraska sports, bands, good food, and drinks.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
It's game on at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Nebraska's premier power sports dealership. Stocking top models from Can-Am, Kawasaki, Honda, Polaris, CF Moto, Suzuki, Yamaha, Indian Motorcycle, Sea-Doo, and Triton trailers. Score big on our massive selection of Can-Am side-by-sides with rebates up to $3,000 on select in-stock models. Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered all under one roof with a large selection of side-by-sides, ATVs, motorcycles, and personal watercraft at their 27th and I-80 location. They can't wait to get you set up for football season.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Back to the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show, brought to you by A1 Automotive.
right, welcome back in. Final segment of the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show. In this segment, sponsored by A1 Automotive. Always honest answers. A1 Automotive at 11th and L. Now at 5110 State Hill Drive. Again, that's 5110 State Hill Drive. A1 Automotive, always honest answers at 11th and L. All right, Rudy, let's go ahead and wrap this up here. We only got a few minutes left. We'll dive into Husker football. I'm sure you've given some takes already, but real quickly, what are 3 keys you're looking for in this game?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for sure with a team like this, just don't get caught up in who they are or aren't. I think you got to go out there, attack it like it's any other week, and I think rules get in a big emphasis on that. So just doesn't matter who you're playing, just go take care of business like you did last week. I think should be the goal. Just try to kill them as much as you can right there.
Absolutely. And final take, again, final segment here. So if you guys have any final takes or you want to put in your score prediction, I'll read them off at the very end here. 402-464-5685 is the Starter Heyman text line. Thoughts on the all red unis that Nebraska's repping today?
Yeah, I actually like it. But I also think it kind of goes into that whole focus on the game type of deal. I have, again, no hate about alternate jerseys, anything like that, but I hope it's kind of not going to get to their head by any means. And I again, feel like the presence of the coaches aren't going to let it get there. But I think we see that happen sometimes where it's jersey this, jersey that. Like, let's go win the games first. But, I mean, why not look cool while you're doing it too? So I like them. I think they're going to look cool.
Yeah, I think they're going to be sharp. And I'm over the alternates point where it's like, God, we're going to wear the alternates. This is a bad omen.
Yeah.
It's a bad omen when you show up and you don't play well. As long as you play well, it doesn't,
Yep.
We could be wearing pink out there. It doesn't matter. It's about how you play. And to your point, there goes the flyover, at least one of them. That's kind of tradition here at Memorial Stadium. But to your point, the coaches, it feels like the discipline's finally locking in to where I'd be surprised if their attention is off the game just because there's some new alternate uniforms that they get to wear this game. Another halftime speech as well. Like, I think that was a little bit performative, making sure the younger guys who are going to get an opportunity to play understand that there is not a time to go out there and just party and have fun, but to do the same thing that the starters did, maintain that shutout and continue to dominate. Not sure if I have to give that speech again. Defensively, are you expecting a shutout?
I think so. I do know that Houston Christian's a little better, at least with the run game, which doesn't worry me as much, but I just think it's like shutouts are just hard enough to come by. And I think that's the only reason. I'm not saying they're going to score probably more than 17 points or anything, but I think they'll give up like a field goal, maybe a touchdown here or there. But I think it's going to be a low scoring game on Houston Christian's end regardless. But I think just trying to go for a shutout again kind of might get in the way too of like what your goal is as a defense. Obviously you want the shutouts to come, but I think those kind of just go hand in hand. So I'm expecting a low scoring offensive game from Houston Christian, but I just think it's too hard for me to say that they'll shut them out again, I think.
It's always a little bit tough, right? Because especially when our defense philosophy is a little bit of a bend, don't break, where you're kind of willing to give up. You're not super focused on the total amount of yards gained. You're worried about how many points are on the board because your whole mindset is, we'll give you a little bit here and there, but you're not going to get anything explosive. So that's always tough to predict. I'm going for a shutout. If they happen to sneak in a field goal, I'd be lying and say if I wasn't disappointed, but my jaw's not going to hit the floor, and I'm not going to look at that defense like they failed miserably. But it is one of those things where I think it was 96, and Welch chimed in here, or excuse me, 97, Texas Tech versus Kansas were the last back-to-back shutouts Nebraska had. Also had 14 straight from 1902 to 1903. I don't think we're anywhere near the 14 straight marker, but that's history right there. I mean, you can do something that hasn't been done since 97, given the opponents are the Akron-Zips, Houston Christian Huskies, not Texas Tech and Kansas, who are a little bit more formidable. But it is something, bulletin board material, like an opportunity, especially for those younger guys going in there. Like, you have an opportunity to do something at home that hasn't been done since 1997.
Yeah.
And to live up to that black shirt's name. And again, we're going to rep out back to the alternates, that USC game, if it's a night game, which is a day after Halloween, I'm anticipating it to be. Yeah. Another game where you're going to wear the alternates and you're going to have an opportunity to just dominate and just like not let the outside noise distract you. So with that being said, let's see, we got 3 minutes left here. Real quickly, score prediction, and then we'll go to some of these other scores, and we'll get the texter scores as well.
Yeah, last week I went a little low on what I thought Nebraska was going to do. I'll buy in this week. I got them winning 56-10.
I like it. I'm going to go 70-0.
Okay.
It's a big number, but
it's possible.
I was watching Houston Christian versus Eastern Kentucky, and not to belittle either school there, but this is a game where scores by 90. I'm not calling for 90, but it's like, you can see how you get maybe somewhere close to that.
Yeah.
To your point, I just want to see us win in a dominant fashion. I think 6 touchdowns is pretty reasonable, just seeing what I've seen. You never want to just walk into it, but I think if the guys show up focused, that's a realistic possibility. Score predictions here. We got Crowbait calling for a 63-3 victory, but got Babalu 70-0, right up there with my score. And then we got, I can get my eyes fixed here, Shemaiah B, 52-6 Nebraska. UCLA. What happened last night? Everybody who didn't know, UCLA is now on the season. What are they, 0-2? Yeah, 0-2, and they lost yesterday to New Mexico. 35-10 in that score honestly gives it more credit than it really is.
Yeah, I again, same thing. I kind of want to be able to be like, oh, like this is where it's going wrong. They just look sloppy overall. And I'm reading this right here. New Mexico ran for 298 yards yesterday. Like,
it was all over.
Yeah, like that's something that no matter how much talent either side had, you're aiming to not give up 300 yards as a whole game at some point. And to give that up just rushing that's something that's kind of just not going to happen from one game to the next. Like, I think that's going to be something that's going to be struggling with them for at least the next couple of games. I don't know how they bounce back from something like this soon, at least.
It was the sad sight. I think the Rose Bowl had like 200 some people in there, and I'm lowballing it, but there was hardly any crowd. You're getting absolutely worked by a team. I think UCLA was favored by 2 touchdowns. And to get blown out 35-10. And to your point, it was just like undisciplined eyes by the defense. Now, New Mexico, they do a lot of things were really smart. Just, where the multiple guys in the backfield they're faking a lot of handoffs. They had a couple trick plays right out of the gate. And you could tell the defense just didn't know where to look. And it was leading to just a ton of wide open lanes because they didn't know who had the ball until he was 5 yards up the field already. I'm very surprised there. Last game I want to talk about, Wisconsin, Alabama. This one, boy, if DeBoer loses this one, I don't know what to do. He's going to be maybe fired before he leaves that stadium. It's in Alabama as well.
Yeah.
And Wisconsin is just desperate, and that's why I think it's interesting. We're going to see a very desperate Wisconsin team go to an Alabama who I think is still overrated.
Yeah, I had seen, I'm not sure if you saw the clip or not, when the Powerball was going on last week, some woman was interviewed, and she said if she wins it, she's going to keep some money, obviously, but then she's paying for Bama to buy out DeBoer's contract and get him out of there. And I think this is one of those games, if that happens, I 100% think that those talks are going to get even louder. Like you're saying, Wisconsin, especially for the schedule they're having, like they're going to go out there. They know that the odds are not in their favor.
Mm-hmm.
So might as well you got nothing to lose. This Bama team has everything to fight for right now. And I think it is going to come down to how well both teams come into that. And so it'll be interesting. I think it is one that if they lose, DeBoer's got a lot to bounce back from. So
yeah, tickets $8. you can go watch Wisconsin and Alabama.
That's insane.
When they put that game on the schedule, I think they're expecting a little bit more than $8 for those tickets. But nonetheless, what was your score prediction one more time?
56-10.
56-10. I said 70-0. We got Jeff Cox saying 73-3. Maybe one more on that texter, and we got a 55-0, just like the 300 shutout. All right. That's it. That's it for the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. At the very least, be sure to join us as soon as the clock hits 0. Jay Foreman, Nick Sainer, they'll join you for the postgame show. I'm Harrison Arns. That's Rudy. Hope for a Big Red win today. Go Big Red. Nebraska Cornhuskers getting ready to face the Houston Christian Huskies. And like I said, we'll join you guys as soon as the clock hits 0.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion for happier, healthier, furry friends.
When the clock strikes 0 after every